today at Tiger Stadium for the first Saints game back in Louisiana since the tragic events of late August and early September. The Saints are Louisiana's team, have been since the mid-'60s when my predecessor, Pete Rozelle, welcomed them to the league as New Orleans' team and Louisiana's team. And our focus continues to be on having the Saints in Louisiana, and today's game and the other upcoming games, the next 3 games here at LSU, are a big part of that effort and that commitment to Louisiana. We are also focused on, in a preliminary way, on the plans for the 2006 season. And our current assumption there is, again, that there will have to be some interim or temporary arrangements for the Saints' playing schedule next year. Whether that's similar to this year or different from this year has not yet been determined. But the backdrop, of course, is something that you're all well aware of. It's the natural disaster, the unprecedented natural disaster, Hurricane Katrina, followed by Hurricane Rita, which so devastated southern Louisiana, including New Orleans. And the efforts of the state of Louisiana, other states in this region, the city of New Orleans, other cities, and the federal government to bring this area back, to rebuild, and to rebuild in a way which is not just a replica of the past, but better than ever. And that's our approach with the Saints as part of that overall effort. We are trying to develop what we would view as a new model for the Saints to operate in a rebuilt Louisiana, rebuilt New Orleans, and part of that would be that the Saints would represent the entire state of Louisiana, much as the Packers represent the state of Wisconsin and the Kansas City Chiefs represent big chunks of Missouri and Kansas. So those are some of the things we discussed this morning in our meeting with representatives of the Superdome Authority. Most important of all was our meeting with the governor and my meeting with the mayor, and Mr. Benson was here, met with the Governor Blanco earlier. And so we've had a busy schedule. Last night we attended the LSU North Texas State game and were able to see the Tiger crowd support LSU as they seek to win their conference title and head to the postseason. And today we hope that, we know that many of the same fans will be here, joined by other fans supporting the Saints. So I'll be glad to take your questions. The question is whether our interim plans next year would include San Antonio, or whether that's been ruled in or ruled out. I don't know the answer to that. We're trying to be realistic and deal not just with the facilities issues, but with what I could call the human issues and the recovery and rebuilding issues in this part of our nation. And so we'll look at all alternatives. I think what we need to do is to recognize that the people of this region and the businesses in this region and the governmental agencies in this region have so many priorities that the rebuilding the Saints and recommitting the Saints to Louisiana is just one of those many priorities, and we'll have to be open-minded. Certainly we appreciate very much what San Antonio has done for the Saints in the NFL this year, what the fans over there have done, but it's a little too early in the planning process to be able to say whether that might be the same or different in 2006. Yeah, the question is, I've referred to the Saints representing the state. Does that include them playing in New Orleans or playing elsewhere? It includes New Orleans, certainly. And, I say the Saints represent the state because each team in the NFL is franchised to represent a specific community. Teams are not franchised as free agents to run around the country and play wherever they want to play. And under our league bylaws, it takes a vote of the league, and it has to be a minimum of 3/4 of the owners to approve any change in the area that a team represents. So that's kind of the framework when I say the Saints represent Louisiana and New Orleans. In terms of the makeup of the games next year, certainly one of the goals will be to bring the Superdome back to a playing quality as early as possible. But to do that in a context where other activities go on, other organizations are engaged, whether they be businesses or youth football organizations, school organizations as the schools come back online, so that if there are games in the Superdome next year, the community feels that it's timely among community's priorities, individual families' priorities, to go out and attend those games. So like I said, it's more about the overall recovery and rebuilding of the area than it is just about facilities. That's part of the mix, obviously. But we need to realize that there's been a tremendous human toll here. And for the NFL and the Saints to come back in the proper way, that human toll has to be recognized and taken into account. Well, my feeling there is my own understanding of our needs as a league and my own sense of the Saints' needs. And what I've told the governor, what I've discussed with the mayor and with Mr. Benson is that in my judgment as the commissioner, the business model for the Saints needs to be changed. It needs to be expanded. The Saints have done some of that before this August and done it well in Mississippi and other parts of Louisiana. And I think that fresh look has to be taken at the lease arrangements, the master agreement arrangements. From my perspective, they were flawed. And that's not to say that they were too favorable to one side or the other. They just weren't well thought through and well structured. So that has to be addressed. So all of those things will be part of what we're looking at here, with the opportunity to make something better than ever. Necessity is the mother of invention. That's, in some ways, that's trite, but that's real. The other thing that is, in some sense, trite but real is that a friend in need is a friend indeed. So we've got to look at this in the light of what's taken place and the human toll and the overall priorities of this state and this region, and not just on the basis of what's occurred in the past. Very strong. What's that? Well, Mr. Benson was here today. He's very supportive of what I'm doing. He's going to join with me in these activities, and we're going to be going forward, working together with the governor and other officials here, and with the business community. Governments don't buy tickets to football games. The people do, the business community does, and we need to work with all of those elements of this community and recognize their priorities as we try to make the Saints better than ever. Is the league in a position on a temporary basis to help the Saints financially? I would say yes. That's something we're talking to the owners about. I appointed an owners committee a couple of weeks ago. We've already made some arrangements internally to help the Saints financially in terms of how we're dealing with visiting team shares on gate receipts and things like that, and we'll be considering more such arrangements.
So much to look at. Is there a timetable that's kind of set of when you want to make a decision by the end of the season, by January, by February?
Depends on what decision you're talking about. We've got a lot of decisions to make. The state has got a lot of decisions to make. The federal government's got a lot of decisions to make. The city of New Orleans has got decisions to make. We're going to have multiple timelines. We're trying to adjust the timelines that are sort of built into the Superdome lease, and it may require some lease amendments. We're trying to adjust those timelines to take into account the reality of the situation we're dealing with. For the moment, I would just say they are flawed, and I can elaborate on some other occasion.
In your discussions with the people here, that remain an option?
Yes. I think that Louisiana State University and its trustees and its athletic department, the chancellor, have all been tremendously supportive. And the reason for that, I think, is apparent. This is a state that's pulling together, a state that's using all of its resources to address issues. And so The athletic department, the chancellor, and others here were very helpful in arranging these 4 games, the first of which we're playing today. They've made it clear, the government has made it clear, that if games at LSU next year are part of the mix that will work, then that would be available, and we just have to figure out how to do that in the most effective way. It's hard to know. The question was, to what degree does demonstrable fan support here in Baton Rouge affect the future of the team? It's really hard to know. We lifted our television blackout because we understand that given the dimensions of the physical destruction and the human toll, that it would be inappropriate to have continued our blackout in those circumstances. So that's going to affect attendance and ticket sales. I would say that it's only one of dozens of factors that will be taken into account with respect to the future. It's always nice to have an excited crowd and a close game and a good, strong marching band, and hopefully we'll have all those things. But what that means 2 weeks from now, 2 months from now, 2 years from now, probably relatively small in the big picture. I'm not big into images. I'm into reality. I think the reality is the NFL has been a very responsible business organization for many, many generations. The owners pride themselves on being positive contributors to their communities. We understand very well what the extraordinary and unique demands are in the current situation, and we expect to do a good job in dealing with those responsibilities. That is conceivable. That's certainly one of the alternatives you'd have to look at long term. But I'm good at looking at a lot of alternatives and then making decisions. So you could come up with 24 alternatives, and I'd probably say they're all worth looking at. And they are, because we're here dealing on a clean slate. No sports league has ever had to deal with the issues that we're dealing with. The NBA is going to have to deal with some of them. I've told our people, think outside the box. And if it's an analogy to Green Bay and Milwaukee, if it's an analogy to what some other team has done either now or in the past, let's look at it. Yeah, I think the reports this week about the long-term landing spot being Los Angeles were nonsensical. LA's been the landing spot for the Indianapolis Colts, the Arizona Cardinals, the Seattle Seahawks, the Minnesota Vikings, and any number of other teams. And the last time I looked, they were all operating in their communities, and LA is off their radar screen. So I don't spend a lot of time reading those reports. If I gave stock to all of the nonsensical things that are written about the NFL, I'd have to work 26 hours a day, and I can only work 24.
One second. Is there a sound guy here? One sound guy?
Test 1 2. No, they're finishing up here second here, guys.
Someone's machine. Yeah, I said that the reports this past week about the landing spot of the New Orleans Saints being Los Angeles, I think were nonsensical. There have been similar reports over the past number of years about the Indianapolis Colts landing in Los Angeles, the Arizona Cardinals landing in Los Angeles, the Seattle Seahawks landing in Los Angeles, the Minnesota Vikings landing in Los Angeles. And the last time I looked, none of them is in Los Angeles. And so I think that, speculation is easy. Dealing with reality is difficult, and we're dealing with reality here. We're going to make every effort to keep the Saints as Louisiana's team.
How strongly can you assure New Orleans that they will have the Saints for next year and the year after?
I think we can be pretty emphatic that the Saints will be, playing what I said before, some type of an interim schedule. Beyond that, I think I've said it 2 or 3 times already, we're a smaller part of a much bigger puzzle, and we have to work within the broader framework of rebuilding this area, this state, this region, and we're committed to do that and leave no stone unturned. But people who overpromise and underdeliver, I don't have great admiration for. People who underpromise and overdeliver, I admire.
At what point do you need to be sure of the long-term viability of New Orleans and its ability to support the NFL team? How long can you remain in limbo?
I don't know. I've been in limbo for a long time on a lot of issues.
And that's going to do it for the countdown to kickoff. Be sure to stay tuned for the pregame show with Jim Henderson, Hokie Guys, John, and Kenny Wilkerson coming up next on the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
Yes, I'd like to register a vanity plate. I love Alltown.
Sorry it's taken. We've had quite a few people in here lately. What's going on?
Louisiana, this is Jim Henderson. The Saints haven't played an outdoor home game in about 30 years, with the questionable exception being the second game of this season in New York after Katrina. But that's only one small reason why this game is utterly unique in Saints history. Normally a mid-season game between infrequent rivals who have each lost 3 in a row and have a collective 4-9 record might qualify as the crummy game of the week in the NFL. And on the field, well, this one very well might be, but it's the off-the-field element that makes this contest so intriguing. What impression will the displaced fans of this displaced New Orleans Saints football team leave on the nation, the commissioner, and the owner of the team itself? Circumstances that led to this game here in Baton Rouge, the Saints' recent poor play, and the animosity toward the owner that he has only this week sought to mollify should have all combined to make this occasion a somber, maybe even a hostile one. But that doesn't take into account the resilient, some would say, even joyously masochistic personality of a true New Orleans Saints fan. They are the most passionate, unrequited lovers of their team in the NFL. How they show that, in addition to other emotions here today, will be more meaningful in the long run than the results of a mere football game. The pregame show will continue after these messages on the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
Boy, our team looks hungry.
Now the starting lineup is brought to you by Briggs Equipment. Rapid quality forklift service is not an accident. It's a promise, and I promise you, Jim Henderson's going to give you the starting lineup today.
Thanks, Hokie. Maybe in a disjointed fashion because the pregame show will be adjusted. Many of you heard the remarks of the commissioner, and we took those in their entirety. So we'll do a truncated version of the starting lineups, and we'll weave those around our national anthem, which is about to be performed pretty soon here. For the Saints offensively, Dante Stallworth and Joe Horn at wide receiver, Ernie Conwell's the tight end, Gandy Jaycox, Bentley Mayberry, and we think Jamal Brown at right tackle, the offensive line, Aaron Brooks with Antoine Smith, the running back, and Mike Carney, the fullback. For the Saints defensively, Charles Grant, Willie Whitehead, Brian Young, and Darren Howard, the front four, Cedric Hodge, and Ron McKinnon, starting for Courtney Watson and Colby Bachwalt, the backers, Mike McKenzie, Fakir Brown on the corners, Josh Bullocks, and Dwight Smith are the safeties. Our national anthem is to be performed by Teresa Anderson.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, the Star Spangled Banner will now be performed by Mason Street recording artist Teresa Anderson. Miss Anderson is a Big Easy Entertainment Award winner and also won the Best of the Beat Award. Her most recent CD is called Shine. And now, to honor America, the veterans of all our armed forces, and the men and women in uniform serving the cause of peace and freedom throughout the world, would everyone please join Teresa Anderson in the singing of your national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched
on the New Orleans Saints Radio Network. Let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
C107.5, KCIL, Houma, Thibodaux, New Orleans, Louisiana home, Louisiana proud, a guaranteed broadcasting station. Today's best country, 107.5, KCIL.
Saints in their black jerseys, Jim Haslett was telling me in pregame. Obviously, these things are set up before the season ever begins, and the Saints almost always wore black inside the Superdome. He said he wished he could have changed it so that the Dolphins would have to wear the dark colors, given the heat here in the late afternoon, late in October. It's a beautiful day here. Temperatures in the mid-70s. Mitch Berger has his hand in the air, and Wes Welker anticipates the opening kickoff of this game from Tiger Stadium. We are underway. Welker from a yard deep in the end zone, back to the 5, he's to the 10. They're going to run a reverse, out wide to the 15, and upended at the 17-yard line is the Dolphin who took that in, and that would be Brian Gilmore, a third-string wide receiver with but 2 receptions. In all, it comes back just 14 yards.
A lot of those returns and everything else, when you do the reverse, it all looks good on paper. But if one guy doesn't get fooled, it always turns up to be a mess for you.
Here's Gus Frerotte leading up this Dolphin offense to the line of scrimmage. 1st and 10 from the 17. They will run it with Ronnie Brown out to the right. Stiff arms Bockwald. Ridden out of bounds as a flag is thrown by Josh Bullocks. Brown ridden out of bounds around the 23-yard line, but a flag thrown at the 24. Saints are pointing in the direction of the Dolphins. Have a chance to set the starting lineup for the Dolphins offensively. Marty Booker and Chris Chambers are the wide receivers. Randy McMichael is the tight end. The line are Damian McIntosh, Geno James, Seth McKinney, Rex Hadnot, and Vernon Carey. A hold against the Dolphins is the call. Ronnie Brown is the running back. And they will use a number of complements in the backfield with him. Sometimes Ricky Williams, sometimes Sammy Morris, occasionally Travis Minor. The penalty goes against the Dolphins for holding, having some problems with the referee's microphone here today, and that is Tom White. And so it will be 1st and about 17. Here's Frerotte on a rollout to his left, throws it out in the left flat. A short reception is made over there by the tight end McMichael. He's forced to the boundary in front of the Dolphin bench and pushed out of bounds just short of the 22-yard line. It'll bring up 2nd down. That's a gain of 11. You know, when Nick Saban was here as a college coach, he would have deferred to the second half, right?
Yeah, but I mean, I just don't think that's protocol in the NFL. You go ahead and you get the opportunity to try and get the ball first and move something down the field.
2nd and 5 from the 22 for the Dolphins, who put Chambers in motion right to left. The running back is Ricky Williams. They throw a short pass to the 30-yard line. It'll be a 1st down, taken in there by Marty Booker for an 8-yard gain, and the Dolphins overcome the early holding penalty. The Dolphins lead this series 5-3. These teams haven't played since November 29th of 1998 in Miami, when the Dolphins won that game 30-10. They each come in with 3-game losing streaks. Sammy Morris is now the fullback in front of Brown in the I formation. 1st and 10, movement along the line of scrimmage. Will Smith comes across the line, makes contact with McMichael, and points to the Dolphins. And it will be a false start against the Miami offensive line.
Well, Will Smith was pretty adamant when he came across the line of scrimmage, said, hey, I jumped off because somebody induced me to come off sides, and the officials agreed.
Randy McMichael, pretty good target, 22 receptions, leads the team in touchdown receptions with 4. A former 4th-round pick back in 2002 out of Georgia. Here's a handoff to Brown, right side, slips a tackle, pirouettes away from the tackle by McKinnon, and he's brought down by the Saints linebacker. Make that the defensive tackle, Willie Whitehead, who was in on the stop, right in front of the Saints bench. Give him 8 on the carry.
Well, the reason that Willie Whitehead was in on the stop, because he came in off the sidelines belatedly. I mean, he was just running out there on the field trying to get in position on the defensive line. He just happened to get caught up in the snap count.
And it'll bring up about 2nd and 7 from the 33-yard line. Pitch it to Brown, running right. Convoy of blockers in front of him. Smith misses him, but 3 other Saints don't. Among them, Ron McKinnon, who shows a lot of emotion as he drops Brown around the 33-yard line. No gain on the play.
Well, what Will Smith did right there, he did his responsibility. He got upfield, and he forced Ronnie Brown to cut it back up in the middle. That's where all your help is coming from. You got the extra defensive linemen and the linebackers and the safeties coming from inside. So if that's what you're going to do, if you're going to overplay it to the outside, make sure that guy cuts to the inside, because that's where all your buddies are.
3rd and 7 from the 33-yard line. Verrott in the shotgun. Saints are going to rush 4. Pocket breaks down, and it's knocked down at the line of scrimmage by Tony Bryant. Flag has also been thrown. Charles Grant may have been being held on his pass rush, and it will go against the Dolphins, but the Saints figure to decline it and take the football.
And let's go right down to Kenny Wilkerson. What you got, Kenny?
Well, we got an emotional crowd, and that's what we've been kind of waiting to see what would happen on a particular few early plays. The first 3rd down situation, the players asked for the crowd to come to life, and indeed they did. Now, you guys can look across and see that upper deck with fans in it. The upper deck that is above you, above the press box area, is closed, but there are, a pretty substantial amount of fans in this building. I would think the number's going to be well over 60,000 when they announce it to us, but they responded well just now.
Former LSU punter Donnie Jones to punt it away. It's a short effort. It's going to hit on the near sideline and be covered by a Dolphin around the 35-yard line. Just a 32-yard punt for Donnie Jones out of Catholic High School here in Baton Rouge. A timeout on the field with 11:49 to play in the first quarter of a scoreless game. Saints about to touch it offensively for the first time. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network. Jim Henderson, joined by a man for whom every holiday is Halloween. Hokie guys, Mardi Gras.
You look at it.
We've already had 2 casualties up here in the booth. This is being renovated here.
Yeah.
You took a spill. Robert took a spill. My goodness.
Yeah, but I tell you what, both of us are playing hurt right now.
Yeah.
So
I'll tell you what,
I've got an issue to take up with Skip Bergman after this game's over with.
you'll own this place. Not that you didn't as an athlete here.
Well, because I didn't.
We're very happy to be at Tiger Stadium, despite the few inconveniences of a remodeled press box. It is great to be back in Louisiana and off a commercial flight for a change for the weekend. 1st and 10 Saints from the 35-yard line of New Orleans. First play from scrimmage for Aaron Brooks in this offense on a Saints team that has lost 3 straight. Handing it off to Antoine Smith, right side, keeps churning beyond his right tackle for a couple of tough yards up around the 37-yard line before he's thrown backward. This Dolphin defense has up front Kevin Carter, Keith Traylor, Vonnie Holliday, and Jason Taylor. The linebackers are Donnie Sprague, the former Saint playing for Junior Seau, Zach Thomas, and Channing Crowder. The corners Travis Daniels and Reggie Howard. They bear watching. The safeties are Traveris Tillman and Lance Schulters. 2nd and 8 from the Saint 37. Backs offset. Wideouts left and right. Conwell goes in motion left to right. Short set by Brooks. Throws the slant. Caught by Stallworth. Beyond the 45, up around the 47-yard line, where he is taken down by Reggie Howard. That's a gain of 10 and a Saint first down. Reggie Howard figures to have a bullseye on his back today.
Well, Reggie Howard was a guy that the Saints signed a couple of years ago. I mean, he was, a good player coming out of college, not somebody that you would consider a shutdown corner or anything like that, but the Saints offense is somebody that they've gone against in their defensive packages, getting ready for teams. They will be looking at him.
1st and 10 from the 47 of the Saints. 10:35 to play. First quarter scoreless game. Brooks to throw again. Pocket breaks down. He steps up. Delivers to the near sideline. Catch is made by Joe Horn, coming back for the ball at the 40-yard line of the Dolphins in front of Howard. That'll be a 12-yard pickup, and welcome back Joe Horn, whom we haven't seen in about 4 games.
Yeah, I mean, he has been missed, but I'll tell you what, it's not like the Saints offense really took a step down. I mean, I think they kind of played up to the potential that, knowing that he wasn't in there, that they had to raise the level of play. And I tell you what, over the last couple of weeks, they did that. Not necessarily in the last half of last weekend's ball game, but against the Falcons in the first half against the Rams.
1st and 10 from the 41, Smith. inside the 30, switches hands, 25, 20, 19-yard line. Antoine Smith ripping off a 23-yard gain.
All right, Antoine, I'm going to give you a little piece of advice. Now, he obviously can't hear me up there, but don't switch the ball that much. Just put it in one arm and take it right up the field because you know what kind of back you are. But I'm still delighted with the big game that he just had.
And a cavernous hole reminiscent of the one that he enjoyed against the Falcons when he took it in on a 24-yard touchdown burst up the middle. So the Saints moving with their first possession, have it 1st and 10 at the Dolphin 18-yard line, 9:25 to play in a scoreless first quarter. Two wide receivers to the right, run it to the near side on the pitch to Smith, and he scrambles forward to around the 16-yard line, just to give him a couple of tough yards as Aaron Stecker checks into the backfield.
Well, the only point that I was making on the play prior to that with Antoine Smith, when you know what you are, don't try and do anything more than what you can do. I mean, even when you break out in the open field, you know what? Go ahead and put the bullseye on somebody and run over them in the secondary because that will come back to haunt the Miami defense later in the ball game. You go over there and plow over one of them safeties. When you get out in the open field and you're trying to shift the ball and make shifty moves and you're not that kind of back, it goes against you.
2nd and 8 from the Dolphins 16. Poole checks in as one of two receivers to the right along with Horn. Near sideline and Stallworth. Brooks looks right, pulls it down, almost sacked by Taylor. Now running to his left. He's going to throw it into the end zone. Incomplete. Nearly a circus catch by Dante Stallworth. He went high for the ball, and Reggie Howard upended him. Stallworth fell heavily at the back of the end zone, but appears to be all right.
And to all Beta Springs Water Company employees, we are concerned about those of you that we have not heard from. If you have not contacted us, call us at 504-828-2500 or email us at abetaman@abetasprings.com. Abeta Springs Water has resumed operation and welcomes you back to work.
First regular season game in the history of Tiger Stadium. Saints played here twice back in the late 60s in exhibition games against the Steelers in 67 and 68. 3rd and 8 from the Dolphins 16. Here's Brooks to throw. Belated rush. He throws it to the far sideline. Coming back and making a sliding reception is Devery Henderson, but he's going to be short of the first down as he came back for the ball. Tried to get up on his feet and turn it upfield. They will mark him short of the first down at the 9-yard line.
I think there's a flag somewhere down on the field, Jim, but I can't see it. But I see the officials huddling.
Now I see it at the 6-yard line. Some of the Dolphins are blocking.
There we go. All right, it's against the Dolphins. It should be illegal holding or illegal contact.
First down.
Well, I mean, if you're holding, it's illegal. So
yes, it is.
Illegal holding, legal contact, it's kind of the same thing.
And
so Saints get a fresh set of downs.
Carries with it a 5-yard penalty and an automatic first down. So the Saints have it 1st and 10 from just outside the 11-yard line. Obviously, they can pick up a first down without scoring a touchdown. The Saints 10th overall running the football, 17th passing it, 12th overall in the NFL offensively. The Dolphins 18th on defense. 1st and 10 from the 11-yard line. Backs offset. The running back is Stecker. Brooks up under center. Looks to his left, throws, and it's wide of Stallworth and incomplete. Coming back for the football in front of Reggie Howard. Reggie Howard's a 6th-year man out of Memphis. He went to training camp with the Saints in 2000. Then he went to Carolina, came here, really looked to be the weak link in that Dolphins secondary, playing today for Sam Madison, a perennial Pro Bowler.
Well, I'll tell you what, when we have an opportunity here in just a minute, I'll tell you a story about Reggie Howard while he was in college.
2nd and 10 from the 11-yard line. Look forward to it. Two wideouts to the near side of the field. They are Stallworth and Horn. Here's Smith barging up the middle behind the block of LaCharles Bentley. Let's see where they spot his forward progress. Looks like it'll be around the 8-yard line, and it'll bring up 3rd down, give him 3.
But while I have the opportunity right now, I was up there at Memphis, and the young man had just broke his neck. He just got out of the hospital, and he came in with one of those. It wasn't what they call the halo, because I don't really know what that is. But, I mean, he came in to interview with some scouts that were there, and he was wearing this brace around his neck. And, I mean, gosh, I mean, you even looked at the guy and said, man, this guy will never walk again, much less play football again.
Shad Meyer checks in and is split out wide to the right. Here come the Dolphins on a blitz, and it's going to be thrown incomplete above Horn, too high and too wide, and incomplete. Saints failed to recognize the blitz of the free safety Lance Schulters, and so the drive stalls, and on comes John Carney. John Carney, who has missed 4 of his last 6 field goals, has had 2 blocked in 2 games. This will be a chip shot from the left hash mark. It will be a 26-yard attempt with Bauman to hold. These would be the first points of the game with 6:52 to play in the opening quarter as the Saints march after taking in the Donnie Jones punt. Here's Carney's field goal, and it is up, and it is through, and the Saints get on the board, though not into the end zone. 6:48 to play, opening quarter. Saints take a 3-0 lead over the Dolphins. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
Here to help, so please call us at 1-800-54-STORM to report your loss. Allstate Insurance is here to help.
Saints go 57 yards in 10 plays in 5 minutes and 1 second. John Carney caps it with a 26-yard field goal. Antoine Smith, 4 carries for 30 yards in the drive, including a 23-yard burst. Wes Welker, little second-year man out of Texas Tech, acquired off waivers from San Diego. Back to return the kickoff by Berger. And it's a dandy. Welker, 3 yards deep, will come out with it to the 5. He's to the 10, to the 15, to the 20, and brought down short of the 25-yard line as a flag is thrown where Alfred Fincher was being blocked, apparently illegally so, by a Dolphin at the 18-yard line. Alfred Fincher's just delighted that there's a flag down on special teams and it's not on him.
That's right.
29-yard return, but it looks like the flag will go against the Dolphins.
I think that's against Alonzo Ephraim. During the return, half the distance to the goal, first down, timeout.
That's exactly who it's against. Timeout on the field, 6:43 to play opening quarter. Saints on top 3-0. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network. Student section in that end zone. The fans are on their feet. It's pretty well packed down there. We expect a crowd of between 60 and 65,000 here, they estimate, on a beautifully sun-splashed afternoon. And the Dolphins will start with that cacophony behind them. 1st and 10 from their 10-yard line. The Dolphins have already been penalized 4 times for 29 yards. Ronnie Brown, the tailback in the eye, gets the pitch sweeping right. He stops and cuts it back right into the waiting arms of Willie Whitehead. Gives Cedric Hodge all the credit on that one as he stood his ground, and Brown had nowhere to run with the pitch to the right. That's a 1-yard gain. Ronnie Brown, the first-round draft choice of the Dolphins, number 2 overall pick, 6 feet 232 out of Auburn, averaged 11.9 yards per carry in the Dolphins' most recent loss, that Friday night affair against Kansas City, carrying 8 times for 95 yards. And it'll bring up 2nd and 9 from the 11, handing it off. And this is going to be running hard beyond the 20 up to the 22-yard line. That is going to be Ricky Williams. Ricky Williams with his best carry in a long time as the fans boo. Ricky coming into this game having carried 11 times for 7 yards. That carry is good for 12. Boy, he doesn't look like the same player.
No, well, no, I mean, and rightfully so. And, Jim, I mean, I know you've heard this story year after year after year when guys report to training camp late and coaches say the guy's not in football shape. I think Ricky Williams is a perfect example of that right now.
1st and 10 from the 23, play action. Farrat with a lot of time, going to step up and heave it long down the middle of the field, and it's going to be caught inside the 30 to the 28-yard line as a flag has been thrown. Ball is ripped free. Another flag has been thrown, picked up by the Saints' Freddie Thomas. He fumbles, and it's going to be picked up, and I guess this play is still alive. Now it's going to be blown dead by Dwight Smith.
Well, it's going to be a face mask against Mike McKenzie as he tried to bring down Chambers. I mean, he grabbed it, flag came in, then another flag came in, and then Chambers fumbled the ball.
So there were a couple of flags thrown. I think the receiver was David Boston.
Okay, David Boston, excuse me.
That's a 53-yard gain to David Boston, only his 4th reception as a Dolphin. But let's sort out these penalties. The Saints were ripping at the ball, eventually dislodged it, but not before they committed a face mask penalty, apparently. There are 2 flags down, and the ball rests at the 25-yard line of the Saints. Now the officials are huddling back at the 19-yard line to try to sort this out as to when these flags occurred and who was in possession of the football at the time, I guess.
Well, when both flags came out, when David Boston had the ball in his control. So both of those are going against the Saints. One could be a flagrant face mask. The other one could be incidental touching, something like that. But, I mean, you know, where the flags were thrown, and because David Boston was the only person holding the football, I don't see how anything could go against Miami.
Well, David Boston, the 7th-year man out of Ohio State, of course, he's been on the sidelines for a while with a drug suspension, has been inactive the last 2 games this season because he hasn't been contributing to the Dolphin offense, but he was wide open downfield, and was that Mike McKenzie who was in a chase mode?
It was Mike McKenzie, and I tell you what, it was kind of a prayer that Gus Frerotte threw up to him.
Yeah, he stepped up and threw it as far as he could, and wide open was David Boston for the reception, and then McKenzie, with some help from his fellow secondary members, tried to rip that ball free. Now we think they've gotten it straightened out, and we're about to hear from Tom White.
Personal foul. Face mask, number 34. In this case, it'll be half the distance to the goal. Miami retains the ball. First down.
Well, it took a long time just to figure that out, as the flags didn't come out concurrently, but apparently they were for the same infraction. So after the reception and the penalty, that carries a half the distance to the goal line penalty with it, the Dolphins will have it 1st and 10 at the 12-yard line of the Saints. 5:07 to play opening quarter. Saints on top 3-0. Gus Frerodte's under a lot of fire in Miami for his recently poor play. Well-traveled journeyman, has been with 6 teams. Been with Washington, Detroit, Denver, Cincinnati, and Minnesota. Comes into this game having thrown 7 interceptions along with 7 touchdowns and completing just 51% of his passes.
Well, Gus Frerotte is exactly that. He's a journeyman player in the NFL. I mean, nobody, you know, you don't sit around on Saturday night as a defensive coordinator and lose sleep over Gus Frerotte. I mean, you know, he's a guy, I mean, he's a stopgap measure guy. You know, you put him in there and let him do some things, but I mean, even back when he was in his younger days, he didn't strike fear in the defenses in the league.
Had some decent seasons with Detroit. I remember the one highlight, I think it was Thanksgiving Day in '99 when he scored a touchdown, ran in the end zone, and headbutted the wall and sprained his neck. Do you remember that?
Yeah, but you were very appropriate in how you said that. The one highlight that you remember.
One low light. 1st and 10 from the 12. 2 wideouts to the near side of the field. They'll run it up the middle with Brown. He's hit in the backfield by Cedric Hodge, who makes another play. And this will be no gain on the play, as Cedric Hodge has been in on a couple of stops and has impeded Brown from making positive yardage on some others. That's a 1-yard gain. Boston is split out wide to the left. 2 receivers wide to the right. One of them in the slot. That's Brown. They run it up the middle with Ricky Williams, and Ricky Williams down to around the 7-yard line. They brought Brown in motion to influence the linebacker and then handed it off to Ricky Williams, who was in there as a fullback. That's a 5-yard gain.
Well, kind of as much as I hate to say it, a couple of times that Ricky has touched the ball this game, he's running downhill like the old Ricky Williams now. He's going to have to get back to his former self, where he's got to put some more weight on and everything else. But I'll tell you what, right now, the couple times he's ran the ball, he's taken it to the Saints defense.
Twice for 13 yards, 3rd and 4 from the 6-yard line. Here's Frerotte, stepping up, delivered, popped up into the air, and intercepted by Smith. White Smith out of the end zone, he's back to the 20. 25, trips over his own man, and fumbles the ball. And the Dolphins, I believe, have recovered. Dwight Smith, they have at the 29-yard line. Dwight Smith had intercepted in the end zone, was bringing it upfield, and about at the 28-yard line with no Dolphin near him, he tripped over a fallen teammate and fumbled the ball away, and it was covered up by the Dolphins.
And just about when you think you've seen it all, I mean, he's got the whole sideline to work with, and he just tripped, blundered, and fell over the top of one of his own linemen.
The ball was tipped, went through the hands of McMichael, taken by Dwight Smith up the sideline, and it looked to be Freddie Thomas, was it, who had already fallen? I think it was.
Yes, it is Fred Thomas.
Freddie Thomas
All right,
had
but
fallen.
now he hit the ground. The ground cannot cause a fumble, but I don't know how this rule is implied right now because it was his own teammate that tackled him.
That's exactly right. And that's why it's the Dolphins football at the 29-yard line of the Saints. Run it with Ricky Williams, spins around. Saints engulf him after a short gain to around the 29-yard line.
But see, that's kind of where I have a problem with that rule when they say the ground can't cause a fumble. But it just did for Dwight Smith, but it was because you got tackled by your own teammate. So what is the ruling in that? Obviously, I mean, it's a moot point now because Miami has already run their first snap. But, I mean, I figured if the ground causes a fumble, it's a no call because the ground can't cause a fumble, whether you're tackled by your own man or an opposing player.
That's the differentiation. He was tackled by his own man. 2nd and 10 from the 29. Handing it off on the stretch to Williams. He breaks outside and is knocked out of bounds. A stiff hit by McKinnon with some help from McKenzie, but Ricky Williams quickly back up on his feet. He's being booed just about every time he touches the ball or comes on the field. They'll spot the football just outside the 25-yard line and give him a gain of 3. Well, the Saints came into this game with a -12 turnover differential. By far the worst in the NFL. The next worst was -8. So they pick one up and give one away on the same play. The interception by Dwight Smith, the fumble by Dwight Smith. 3rd and 7 from the 26-yard line of New Orleans. 3-0 our score. Dolphins trail from the shotgun. Farad throws over the middle. Catch is made inside the 20 to the 19-yard line. That looked to be Welker. And it was Wes Welker for 7 yards. Just 5'9" and 185. He went to camp with San Diego as an undrafted free agent, released early this season, and he was picked up by Randy Mueller. That's something Randy likes to do, is to shake up the bottom part of the lineup and the bottom part of the roster. Make sure nobody is getting too comfortable down there, and they found somebody who can contribute in Welker. A measurement here with the ball resting around the 19-yard line of the Saints. As they stretch out the chain, it is a Dolphin first down.
And let's go right down to Kenny Wepperson.
Well, that's what I was going to tell you. It looked like it was so close, guys, and it looked like they probably had it by an inch, and indeed they did. Now, a couple plays ago, McKinnon, and I'm not sure who else also converged on Ricky Williams, but that hit that went out of bounds right there when they knocked him, I mean, kind of knocked Ricky out of there for a little bit. His helmet was about half on. That's the hardest hit we've seen anybody put on anybody with this football team in weeks and maybe even months. I mean, that was an NFL tackle.
1st and 10 from the 19-yard line. Handed off on the delay to Brown. He seeks running room. And with 5 Saints converging on him, they will mark his forward progress just short of the 15-yard line. Brown never did go down, met initially by Mike McKenzie, along with Cedric Hodge. That's a gain of 3.
And some of those other games that took place today. Chicago beat Detroit 19-13. That was the final in overtime. Also a final. Dallas beats Arizona 34-13. Oakland beats Tennessee 34-25. Houston over Cleveland 19-16. The Giants all over Washington 36-0. Eli Manning 12 of 31 for 146 yards and 1 TD in that game.
2nd and 7 from the 16. Ricky Williams hit in the backfield and dropped by Tony Bryan, along with Darren Howard, a loss on the play. A 3-yard loss for Ricky.
And those other games, St. Louis beat Jacksonville 24-21. Cincinnati over Green Bay 21-14. Boy, Green Bay had a tough time and a lot of close losses. Also, Carolina beats Minnesota 38-13. Jake DeLong 21 of 30 for 341 yards and 3 touchdowns in that game.
3rd and 10 now for the Dolphins at the Saint 19-yard line. Welker, along with Chambers, split out to the near side. Booker to the far side. Farad in the shotgun. Stamps his foot a second time, and the ball is hiked. Here's Farad. He's going to throw into the end zone. Wide open is Welker, but out of bounds. Made the catch, but off the field of play. The little guy went up and made a dandy reception, but no chance to even get 1 foot down in the end zone.
Well, that's the case right there. Gus Farad. I mean, just too much adrenaline flowing through his veins. I mean, he just zipped that ball in there and didn't give his
receiver was wide open. I mean, that should be an easy reception for a quarterback wide receiver combo. He just had too much mustard on it. Couldn't get his feet in bounds.
A 37-yard attempt from Olindo Mare between the hash marks for Jones to hold. Snap, placement, kick on its way, plenty of leg, and the veteran Olindo Mare out of Syracuse nails it, and we've got a 3-3 game. 33 seconds remaining in the opening quarter. We're tied at 3. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
It's a New Orleans Saints tradition to turn down the sound on your TV and turn up the Saints Radio Network next Sunday at 3 p.m. when the Saints take on the Chicago Bears right here in Tiger Stadium. Turn up the Saints Radio Network.
Bears winners today. Well, Dwight Smith intercepts in the end zone, trips over Freddie Thomas, fumbles it away at the New Orleans 29. Saints defense stiffens, and the Dolphins can only move 10 yards in 7 plays in 3 minutes and 14 seconds. Settle for a 37-yard Olindo Mare field goal in a 3-3 game. Ricky Williams has carried 5 times for 16 yards, just in excess of 3 yards per carry. Ronnie Brown has carried 6 times for 17. Just less than 3 yards per carry. So the Saints are doing a good job defensively, apart from the one big play to Boston. Here's the kickoff by Mare, and it is going to be a strong one. It hits out of the end zone. Olindo Mare, who is fully capable of this, he usually is right up among the league leaders in touchbacks, kicking it through the end zone. Aaron Stecker back to return the kickoff because of the absence of Oz Hakeem today.
And even if Aaron Stecker catches that, there's nothing he can do with it because it was out of the end zone.
33 seconds remaining in the first quarter of a 3-3 game. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network. Plays for the Saints 9. Miami's had the ball for 6 minutes and 15 seconds because of that fumble after the Dwight Smith interception. The Saints will have it 1st and 10 at their 20. Stallworth, wide right. Denbury Henderson along with Joe Horn in the slot, wide left. The running back is Stecker. Play action. Half rollout by Brooks. Looks back to his left and completes it to Horn beyond the 35 to the 36-yard line. That's a gain of 16. And the one thing the Saints have missed in missing Joe Horn is how well he runs routes. You know where he's going to be. He's not going to blow a route for you.
And I think that you can see that the way that Aaron Brooks is dropping back in the pocket. He's seeing what he wants to see, and he delivers that ball on time. Everything is in rhythm, and you don't see that that nervousness that Aaron Brooks can have in the pocket sometimes.
First quarter of the first regular season game in NFL history in Tiger Stadium. It's history now. 3-3 is our score. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
Between Aaron Brooks, Aaron Stecker, Antoine Smith, well, Mike Carney's not going to deliver a whole lot.
Dante Stallworth.
Yeah, whoever. I mean, a reverse, anything like that. But those guys will be donating $3 per rushing yard to the Deuce McAllister Catch-22 Foundation.
Both of these teams seeking to break a 3-game losing streak. Oddly enough, the Saints had never lost to the Dolphins playing in the Superdome, where they were 4-0. 1st and 10 Saints from the New Orleans 36. Stecker looks for running room, doesn't find any. Might have picked up a yard. Eventually broke it off to the right, where he was running behind Jamal Brown, who was back in the starting lineup today after missing a couple of games with an ankle injury. That's a 1-yard gain. Aaron Brooks, 3 out of 6 on the day for 38 yards, and Joe Horn returning to the lineup with a pair of catches for 28. 2nd and 9 New Orleans from the same 37, moving it left to right in a 3-3 game early in quarter number 2. 2 wideouts to the left, 1 to the right. Stretch play to Stecker. He's turned the corner, makes a move on the defensive line, and scrambles forward beyond the 45 up to around the 47-yard line, and looks like he'll have the first down. He was able to slip, looks like Kawaki Thomas, for an 8-yard gain.
I tell you what, a good piece of individual running right here as he gets trucked up out there. I mean, that's one of the drills that you always go through in college and NFL and practice. Put that off arm down. You're carrying the football in one hand, you put the other arm down, and you try and help maintain your balance as best you can. And right there, it paid off for Aaron Stecker.
Kind of tripod your way along and stay alive. They're going to measure and bring the chains in from the near sideline. Nice to see friendly faces on the support staff here today
all over the place, up in the press box and everything. You see people that you normally see, and the Saints are just barely short of that first down. But I mean, it really is. It was, and how about you and I were talking about this morning on drive over here? How nice was it to spend a Saturday at home when you just didn't have anything to do? All you had to do was wait to make the travel over here to Baton Rouge Stadium, at the Tiger Stadium, on Sunday.
And a delightful drive it was with you at the wheel of the Dodge trunk.
That would be a Toyota Tundra.
Oh, sorry. Well, they're about 4 inches short, so officially 3rd and 1 from the Saint 46. Ends in tight with the exception of Joe Horn. Backs in an eye, the tailback is Smith. They'll give it to the fullback, Connie. He will not get a thing. Drop for a loss on the play. The Saints in short yardage have really had their problems recently.
And I'm going to tell you, the problem that I have with that play right there is not that you can give the ball to Mike Carney, but everybody is keyed in on him because he is the lead blocker. That's where they're expecting the ball to go behind, is behind Mike Carney. So your linebackers, your defensive tackles, your defensive ends, they're pitching into him to say, all right, this is where the ball's coming, because you're expecting Antoine Smith to get it.
And ran it right into Keith Traylor at 6'2" and 337 in the middle of that Dolphin defensive line, the 15-year man out of Central State, Oklahoma. So Welker is back, anticipating the Mitch Berger punt. Berger touches off a nice one. It's going to hit at the 6, bounce down to the 1 and into the end zone. Jason Kraft couldn't get there in time. It'll be a touchback after a 55-yard Berger punt, just 1 short of his season high in yardage, and a timeout in the field. 12:52 to play, second quarter. Saints and Dolphins tied at 3. This is New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
To all of Media Springs Water Company employees, we are concerned about those of you that we have not heard from. If you have not contacted us, call us at 504-828-2500 or email us at abitaman@abitasprings.com. Abita Springs Water has resumed operations and welcomes you back to work.
First and 10 Dolphins from their 20. We're tied at 3, 12:52 to play, second quarter. Welker in motion. They're going to throw it to him on a quick little out to the left side. He'll be banged out of bounds by Fakir Brown, but that'll be a pickup to the 28-yard line and good for 8 yards.
I'll tell you what, I mean, when Fakir Brown was hurt, I didn't necessarily know that he was the answer or not to the Saints defense, but I'll tell you this, they picked on Jason Kraft a lot, and opposing teams made a lot of big plays against him, but since Fakir Brown has been back in there, he has shut down some of that.
2nd and 2 from the 28. Ricky Williams gets the call. He breaks it outside, turns it up beyond the 30, and forced out of bounds in front of the Saint bench at the 36-yard line by Dwight Smith. That's a gain of 8. So Ricky obviously a little fired up facing his former team, for whom he played for 3 years, gaining 884 yards in 99, 1,000 in 2000, and 1245 in 2001 before his eventual trade to the Dolphins. So it's a first down for Miami at the 36-yard line of the Fins. 12-12 to play, second quarter, 3-3 game. Backs offset, tailback is Williams. He'll get the call. Ricky Williams doesn't get too much this time, up to around the 38-yard line. He still wears, that's a 3-yard gain, he still wears number 34, but you see him in the uniform, it doesn't look like the same guy. He's probably, I would guess, 15 to 20 pounds underneath his playing weight as a Saint.
Oh, I think he's, well with, I would say he's close to 25 or 30 pounds, because when he was playing with the Saints, he was in that 240 to 245 range in all muscle.
2nd and 8 from the 38. Williams remains the running back. McMichael in motion. They're going to throw it to him out in the right flat. Dwight Smith rides him out of bounds in front of the Dolphin bench. They'll mark the football at the 43-yard line, and it'll bring up third down. That's a gain of 5.
All right, well, don't think I'm some kind of knucklehead by saying this. I know I'm a knucklehead, but anyway, a guy like Ronnie Brown can learn a lot from Ricky Williams. Not how to deal with the media or anything else, but how to prepare and how to practice for an NFL game, because Ricky Williams was one of the best I've ever seen at that.
3rd and 3 for the Dolphins from the Miami 43. They stack 3 receivers to the right. One of them being Chambers, who goes in motion right to left. From the shotgun, Farad delivers the football for a first down into Saints territory caught by Marty Booker. And they'll mark the football at the 46. That's a first down on a 12-yard gain.
Now, what he had to do with media, he was a totally different guy.
Here's Ronnie Brown. And Brown stacked up at the 41-yard line on a first down carry of 4 yards. Ricky carried 6 times for a loss of 1 against Kansas City in the most recent game. Had carried 11 times for 7 yards coming into this game, an average of 0.6, and his longest gain was 4. He's far surpassed those totals today, although it wouldn't have taken much. 2nd and 6 from the 41-yard line of the Saints. Chambers in motion. Give it to him on the end around. They run him often. The Saints string it out and drive him out of bounds. Dwight Smith, a real good job maintaining his feet. The ball will be spotted at the 40-yard line. Chambers has twice been this team's leading rusher this season, so you can see that they have no compunction whatsoever in handing the ball off to Chris Chambers. That's just a 1-yard gain. And it'll bring up 3rd and 5. Saints trying to get off the field. Chambers split out wide to the right. Welker in a slot left. Wide left is Boston. On 3rd and 5 from the Saint 40, Farad in the shotgun. Saints rush 4. They throw it out into the right and left. Catch is made. And a first down by Ronnie Brown. Forced out by McKinnon at the 31-yard line. So Gus Farad looking like Dan Marino at the moment in the way that he's distributing the football. That's a 9-yard gain. And the drive continues for Miami. And let's pause 10 seconds for stations to identify themselves. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
C107.5, KCIL, Houma, Thibodeau, New Orleans, Louisiana owned, Louisiana proud, a guarantee broadcasting station. Today's best country, 107.5, KCIL.
That'll be a pickup of 5. Nothing too fancy for the Dolphins here as Ricky Williams loses his helmet, but very effective in the way that they've controlled the ball in this drive. Gus Farad under some pressure in Miami, where a lot of folks are now yelling for Sage Rosenfels, who in the mop-up effort against Kansas City threw 1 pass for a 77-yard touchdown and was on the field for 12 seconds. 2nd and 5 from the 26-yard line of the Saints. 3-3 game. Dolphins threat. Brown from a slot left. They hand it off inside. Ricky Williams down to the 20-yard line. Making a lot of mileage on running players out of the slot, faking the end around or the slot man around to them, and then running it up the middle with the other running back.
Well, this NFL scoreboard is brought to you by A1 Appliance and Electronics. Chicago beat Detroit 19-13, and Dallas is over Arizona 34-13. We'll get right back to that after this play.
1st and 10 from the Saint 20. 3-3 game, 2nd quarter. Farad hands it off to Ricky Williams, and Williams doesn't get too much as Jonathan Sullivan, along with Darren Howard, are in at the stop. Courtney Watson in there now, too, at middle linebacker. Make that a 2-yard gain.
Oakland beats Tennessee 34-25. Houston over Cleveland 19-16. The Giants all over Washington 36-0. St. Louis beats Jacksonville 24-21. Cincinnati over Green Bay 21-14. And Carolina beats Minnesota 38-13. Give you some upcoming scores here in just a minute.
2nd and 8 from the 18. Ricky Williams in motion. No one behind Farad. Saints look like they're going to blitz it up the middle. Here they come with Watson. They throw it out in the right path. Incomplete. Intended for Ronnie Brown. Dwight Smith coming off that foot injury, able to break it down. One of the few times today, and we mentioned this oftentimes last week, that the Saints have blitzed to good result.
Well, I mean, it happens sometimes. I mean, for whatever reason, they hadn't been able to put the pressure on the quarterback that they thought they have been able to this year. But a lot of times when you bring that blitz, at least you put pressure in the quarterback's face and make him throw that ball before he's ready to.
3rd and 8 from the 18-yard line. Farad in the shotgun. Chambers is split out wide to the left. Booker wide right, but Michael in a slot left. From the shotgun as the Saints blitz again, and it's going to be knocked down. And perhaps, no, we thought perhaps a lineman took it in, but he did not. Damian McIntosh, the left tackle, almost made the reception on that tip ball, but did not, so it's an incomplete pass. And on will come Olinda Mare. Murray, who has a 37-yarder to his credit back in the first quarter, will attempt one from 36. Been doing this well for a long time. He's 9 out of 10 on the season. His longest 53 he has missed in 21. Snap, placement, kick by Murray. Very high, very straight, and very good for the Dolphins, who now take a 6-3 lead. 7:18 to play, second quarter. Dolphins 6 and Saints 3. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network. Welcome back to Tiger Stadium. Jim Henderson alongside Hokie Gajan. Kenny Wilkerson down on the field below. Dolphins go 14 plays, 62 yards at 5:34. Murray a 36-yard field goal as they take a 6-3 lead over the Saints. Ricky Williams has carried 10 times for 39 yards. Field's in really good shape with LSU playing on it last night. In fact, George Toma is here, the sod god of the NFL. I visited with him down at the sideline. He said the biggest problem was getting the paint to dry overnight. They brought in airboats to do that. Here's the kickoff. It will be fielded a yard deep by Stecker. He's going to come out with it to the 10, to the 15, to the 20. No more running room much beyond that. Fights his way up close to the 25-yard line. Give him 27 on the return. A timeout on the field with 7:10 to play in the second quarter. The Dolphins a 6-3 lead over the Saints. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
Caution, 1-800-54-STORM to report your loss. Allstate Insurance is here to help.
My pleasure to be alongside former LSU great. His words, not mine. Hokie Gajan, and boy, they haven't forgotten here, have they? It's been quite a while. But
but see, I was LSU's, not so average.
First and 10 at the 25-yard line of the Saints. Horn in motion. Backs off set. On the delay, Antoine Smith, and he is met by the linebacker and thrown backward after a short gain. Looked to be Channing Crowder, I believe, on the initial stop. And it was the third-round draft choice out of Florida, who had a season-high 10 tackles last week against the Chiefs. That's a 2-yard gain. Of course, we'll be right back here next week on the day after an LSU home game the night before. Hope that the weather stays like this for all the people who have to get this field ready overnight. 2nd and 8 from the Saint 27. Horn in motion. Play action. Off the stretch. Brooks can't find anybody. Slips, stumbles, falls, gets back up and goes down again. He was tripped up initially by Jeff Scanina. They didn't call him down. He got back up on his feet. Fell again back at the 15-yard line. That'll be a loss of 7.
Well, you certainly can't fault Darren for trying to make a play right there, but he kind of hurt himself in a little ways because, he went down. He was not down by contact. He jumped up and lost a little bit of yardage and was looking for somebody to throw the ball to and actually ended up losing about another 4 yards.
Loss of 12 on the play. Keith Traylor gets credit for the sack, and it brings up 3rd and 21 from the Saints 14. Dolphins rush just 3. Brooks throws the screen to Stecker, and that won't get back to the line of scrimmage. As Kendall Jaycox couldn't get much of his man, and Saint fans boo their team for the first time today. That's a loss of 2.
Well, I'll tell you what, if they run any other play in the playbook other than that, I would have applauded them. But, your screen pass is your Achilles heel of this offensive football team. You're horrible at it. Why do you even try and do it?
Very good point. Here's Berger's punt. Welker drifts back, calls for a fair catch, and makes it back inside his 35-yard line. Pressure coming from Jason Kraft downfield. That's a 53-yard punt.
Must be a flag downfield somewhere.
Way across the field at the 10-yard line.
Roughing the punter.
Wow.
Or at least running into the punter. Now, running into the punter will not give them a first down.
First down for Miami. Timeout.
So it was offside the way it was.
Yeah, by the Saints lined up in the neutral zone, although it looked like they were signaling that the punter had been interfered with. So the Dolphins will have it when we return inside their 35-yard line with 5:17 to play before halftime and in command of a 6-3 lead. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network. First and 10 Dolphins from the Miami 34, 5:17 to play before halftime. Miami on top 6-3. Brown goes in motion. Williams remains the setback. Farrat short set, throws it out in the right flat to Brown. He's going to be hit immediately by Cedric Hodge. And over there to help out with Jonathan Sullivan. Jonathan Sullivan ranging all the way across the field from his defensive tackle position. Gets in on the stop, and that's a 2-yard gain. They call that their pony package when they have both Brown and Williams in the backfield together. Of course, the fallacy of that is one has to block for the other, and neither one is accustomed to doing that.
Well, no, I wouldn't exactly say that, because Ricky Williams spent a lot of his time at Texas doing that, and he also did a little bit of his time here with the Saints doing that.
Don't ever disagree with me. 2nd and 8. Handing it off to Brown, who is the lone setback.
Jonathan Sullivan again.
There he is. Jonathan Sullivan on the tackle with Freddie Thomas helping out.
Speaking of pony packages, it's something we never talk about.
Yeah.
Jonathan Sullivan making 2 plays in a row.
Getting congratulated by his teammates and comes to the sideline. That's a 1-yard gain. See if the Saints can get off the field on 3rd down here and make a stop and maybe get some decent field position prior to the half. They haven't had many answers on 3rd down defensively. Both Brown and Williams are in there, standing alongside Farrat, who's on the shotgun, in 3rd and 8 from the 36 of the Dolphins. Handing it off on the delay to Williams, and he'll be brought down at the 40-yard line. Charles Grant, who is doing a better job, you'd have to say, playing the run than the pass this year on the tackle. That's just a 4-yard gain, and the Saints will get the ball back as on comes Donnie Jones.
Well, this Hibernian National Bank Challenge is brought to you by Hibernian National Bank, the official bank of the New Orleans Saints. And there have been no challenges this half, but if there is, right now, Hibernian is open for you to get a personal or a business checking account and get an emergency roadside kit free. Make Hibernian your official bank and trust all your financial needs to the one you know. Hibernian, where service matters.
Left-footed booter, Donnie Jones to punt it away. The Saints with a return on. Stallworth lets it hit at the 6, and it bounds into the end zone for the touchback. Dante Stallworth getting a chance to return punts once more. Aaron Stecker returning kickoffs. Is Oz Hakeem inactive this week? He's been troubled by a rib injury. That is a 59-yard punt from Donnie Jones, who was waived by Seattle earlier this year. 2nd longest of the season, his longest being 60 yards. And Donnie, of course, went to nearby Catholic High School here in Baton Rouge.
Well, I'll tell you what, I mean, good decision right there by Dante Stallworth. When you are as a punt returner and that ball turns over in the air, you know that when it hits, except on a couple of rare occasions, it'll back up. Generally, it's going to hit and bound into the end zone. Once he got inside the 10-yard line, he said, I'm just going to let it go, and that's exactly what happened. Now the Saints get the ball at the 20-yard line.
Saints' opening drive of the game was their best, a 57-yard march that John Carney ended with a field goal. Play action. Brooks with a lot of time. Going to throw it deep down the near sideline. Oh, what a catch by Horn. He knew he was going to pay the price. Right at midfield he did, as Travaris Tillman came over and just rocked him to the ground. But that's a 30-yard reception, and Joe Horn makes a big, big catch.
And I tell you what, I think Tillman more so went for the interception than he did the hit right here. And Joe knew that it was coming because he could see him coming out of the corner of his eye. But Tillman just went up and actually ended up putting the chest, Tillman's chest, ended up hitting Joe Horn in the face as opposed to coming in there and trying to smash the ball out.
Horn heads to the sideline on 1st and 10 from midfield. 2:30 to play before halftime. Saints trailing 6-3. Here's Brooks looking to throw. Has a receiver in the left flat, and now he's going to be sacked from behind. Brought down on the sack by Bonnie Holiday, and that'll be the 2nd of the day for the Dolphin front four.
Yeah, and Bonnie Holiday just kind of gave the old bull rush to Wayne Gandy out there. And I mean, Wayne has been he's been a serviceable player for the Saints, but it's just not really what you want as a left tackle to be able to hold up out there against good pass rushes. And there again, he just kind of collapses underneath the rush of Bonnie Holiday.
Remember, Jumpy Geathers had the old forklift?
Right, and that's what they used to call him. They used to call him the human forklift. And I'll tell you what, I've never seen a stronger person with more leverage in my life that they could put him inside, going against centers and guards, where he could move his hips, get him underneath those guys and lift them up, and that's basically what Holiday did to Wayne Gandy right now.
Nick Saban, who agreed to a 5-year contract on Christmas Day of the past year, said as he arrived in Miami, you're going to see a team that teams will hate playing. And a lot of the critics have said it's a team you're going to hate watching for the most part through a 2-4 start. But they're playing pretty well here today. Here's a pass to the slot to Stallworth, and he's taken down by Zach Thomas in Miami territory. There's a Dolphin lineman shaken up further back upfield. That's Kevin Carter. That's a 13-yard gain.
I tell you what, though, I mean, I like that play right there. I mean, you come out on first down, you drop back and throw the ball, you get a big sack, you lose about 10, 12 yards, something like that. Come back and do something quick and pick up positive yardage.
2 minutes remaining in the first half as the Dolphins lead it 6-3. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
Adidas Springs.
Dolphins this year have been winless when opponents have scored first. In all 4 of their losses, the opponent has scored first. The Saints scored first today, taking a 3-0 lead on a John Carney 26-yard field goal. The Dolphins have countered on a 37 and a 36-yarder by Alindo Mare for a 6-3 lead. Saints are 0 for 3 on third down conversions and looking at 3rd and 7 here from the Dolphin 47. Brooks in the shotgun. Puts Stallworth in motion. Dolphins coming with a blitz. Flag has been thrown, and Brooks is going to pirouette out of there. Be trapped all the way back to the 30, inside there to the 28-yard line. Now there is a flag down back at the line of scrimmage.
Well, you got to hope this goes against the Dolphins, because otherwise, you're talking about the Saints being a huge hole right now. Mitch Berger having to come back there and punt from about, almost 30 yards deeper. Aaron Brooks laying down the ground, holding his right ankle.
That's because he's lost his shoe, though. That's a 26-yard loss.
Number 70, offense, is not on the line of scrimmage. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
So the Saints are 0 for 4 on third down.
Well, you got to hope this goes against the Dolphins, because otherwise, you're talking about the Saints being a huge hole right now. Mitch Berger having to come back there and punt from about, almost 30 yards deeper. Aaron Brooks laying down the ground, holding his right ankle.
That's because he's lost his shoe, though. That's a 26-yard loss.
Number 70, offense, is not on the line of scrimmage. Penalty is declined. 4th down.
So the Saints are 0 for 4 on third down, and the biggest collapse there as they are sacked for the 3rd time in the first half. And it was Jeremiah Bell, a safety, in on the sack of Brooks, the 3rd of the quarter, 3rd of the half. Berger's punt is a poor one, short and high. Welker comes up, makes the fair catch at the Dolphin 40. Just a 32-yard Mitch Berger punt with 1:43 to play before halftime.
Well, you can't put all that on Mitch Berger right there. I mean, Aaron had to take the big sack because he had no chance. I mean, once Miami's defense came off, blitzing him and everything else, he had to retreat, took the huge loss. But now you're talking about putting your defense in a position where all the Dolphins have to do is get a couple of first downs. Alindo Mare can come out there and kick a field goal and make this a 9-3 ball game.
1st and 10 for the Dolphins from the Miami 40. 1:43 to play before the half. 6-3 our score. The Dolphins on top. Farad in the shotgun. Saints rush 4. Farad throws far sideline. Coming back for the ball and a catch by Chris Chambers. Just short of the first down. That's a 9-yard gain.
Well, this NFL scoreboard is brought to you by Lennox Air Conditioning and Heating. And those late games starting this afternoon. San Diego 14, Kansas City nothing in the second quarter. These are all second quarter scores. Denver 14, Philadelphia nothing. Tampa Bay and San Francisco tied up at nothing apiece. All those second quarter scores.
2nd and 1 from the 49. Handed off out of the shotgun to Brown, and he jukes his way downfield inside the 40-yard line, making about 3 Saints miss en route to a 13-yard gain and a Miami first down. The Dolphins have all 3 timeouts left, but not using any at the moment with 54 seconds remaining before halftime. Here's Farad throwing over the middle to a wide open Chambers. Will be brought down at the 32-yard line as he trips and falls, and Freddie Thomas covers him up, and Miami will take a timeout here on a 6-yard gain.
And it's a good thing that Chambers did fall down the middle of the field, because, I mean, he had all kind of room to work with, and with the Vikings having their, with the Dolphins having their timeouts remaining, all he had to do was try to get to the boundary and save some of those timeouts, but he fell down the middle of the field. The Dolphins go ahead and call it, and boom, they're sitting out there. I mean, right now, they're kind of on the end of Orlando Mary's field goal range, but nonetheless in range of where they need to be, because they want to get points before this half is over with.
The Dolphins have given up over 25 points in each of their last 3 games. As an average, the Saints have scored but 3 and only threatened once when they got that field goal from John Carney. 2nd and 4 from the Saint 32. Farad in the shotgun, Welker in motion. Half rollout to the right by Farad, throws, and it's going to be caught by Welker. He is slammed by Mike McKenzie. You could hear that shot all the way up here along the sideline in front of the bench of the Dolphins. The ball will be spotted at the 29-yard line, just a pickup of 2. He's a tough little guy, Wes Welker, only goes 5'9" and 185. And he was really massaged by Mike McKenzie. 3rd and 1 at the Saint 29, 37 seconds remaining before halftime. Dolphins looking to add to their 6-3 lead. Handoff Brown, missed in the backfield by Watson. Picks up a couple as the Dolphins take timeout. Nick Saban able to call it right in the official's ear on the far sideline. Right by the line judge and calling the timeout. That's a 2-yard gain, 32 seconds remaining.
Well, they picked up the first down, and I mean, now it gives Nick Saban an opportunity. Let me pull my quarterback over here. Let's discuss a couple of things that we're talking about doing. You can get in the huddle because you have time. Call a couple of plays. Hey, if it's complete in the middle of the field, this is what we're going to do. If it's out of bounds, well, then boom, we'll just come right back to the huddle. So, I mean, they have to explore the different options that they have right now.
Nick Saban has said that his philosophy is to enjoy the process. Don't worry about the scoreboard. The scoreboard will take care of itself.
Oh, that's the biggest bunch of crap I've ever heard. Nick Saban doesn't enjoy anything. I mean, look at
his contract.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, that he probably enjoys. I mean, he enjoys coaching and everything else, but I mean, he's not a happy camper down there on the sideline.
1st and 10 from the 27 of the Saints. 32 seconds remaining before halftime. Farad in the shotgun. He has not been sacked. He has not been hurried for the most part. Saints rush 5. Don't get to him. He throws it, and it's going to be incomplete. Boy, Randy McMichael almost made a juggling catch at the 5-yard line. Tipped it up with one hand at the 10, tipped it up with another at the 7, almost brought it in at the 5.
I mean, that would have been highlight reel material right there. And I'll tell you what, I mean, that's why I said, oh, no, because I thought McMichael was going to come down with that thing. I mean, hell of an effort on his part. You just don't want to see it if you're a Saints fan, somebody making that catch at the end of the half.
Courtney Watson was closing in on him, might have had a shot at an interception. 2nd and 10 from the 27, 27 seconds left in the first half. Farad in the shotgun with 3 wide receivers. Saints rush 4. Farad throws it right flat, catch is made by McMichael, and McKenzie makes a nice open field tackle. As the clock continues to run, that's a 4-yard gain. Farad's going to let it wind down before he calls the last timeout. Make sure the Saints have no opportunity to return a kickoff following a Mare field goal.
Yeah, but you also have to keep in mind, I wouldn't expect Nick Saban to do something like that, because the rule in the NFL states that should something happen on his field goal where it's an offensive penalty, 10 seconds have to run off, which would negate anything that they would do right now. I would think that Nick Saban would be more on top of the rules than that. I'm not saying he's aware that he's not aware of the rule. I'm just saying that I would expect him to give himself every opportunity to score, and even if that means having to kick off the Saints, because without Michael Lewis back there, the chances of them returning the kickoff for a touchdown have been minimized.
Well, that's for sure. The Saints really have very little threat in the return game without Michael Lewis. Oz Hakeem has done it. Dante Stallworth, Fred McAfee.
And Oz Hakeem is not in this ball game. Fred McAfee, I mean, you basically know what you're going to get from him.
41-yard field goal attempt by Mare from the right hash mark. And this play will be blown dead. Maybe the Saints called timeout here. We'll see, or maybe just the official stopping play. No, the Saints have called timeout. That's their second. They have one left. They figured they would give Mare the chance to think about it.
Yeah, but you know, Jim, I mean, I'm kind of the opinion, it's kind of like a golfer. I mean, a guy gets out there, you give him an opportunity to hit a bad shot, a professional golfer, you give him the opportunity to do it over, he knows what he did wrong the first time. He can correct that, a la the Rams game a couple weeks ago. Now, that wasn't intentional. The Saints didn't call a timeout to try and ice him, but a veteran like Lindo Mare, I mean, you're not going to ice him by calling a timeout. I think what you need to do is let the guy go out there, make the swing of his foot, and either it goes through or it doesn't. You try and ice him, I think it gives him, just like a good golfer, the more he thinks about it, the better shot he can make.
Well, we'll find out. Mare's been in this business a long time, 9 years out of Syracuse, one of the best of the league. And this ball is on its way, and it is good. So they gave him the opportunity to think about it, and it didn't matter whatsoever. A game that has just been dominated by field goals through 30 minutes of football. Mare a 41-yarder to go with his 36 and 37-yarder. Carney a 26-yarder, and the Dolphins lead at halftime 9-3. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
Brought to you by CarQuest Auto Parts, with over 200 stores serving Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama. Well, Bobby, 9-3.
9-3. Is that like a high-scoring baseball game or what? But I mean, realistically, the defense is doing their job. I mean, other than giving up a few key third-down conversions, the Dolphins were 4 for 9, and the Saints were 0 for 4. That's how you sustain drives, is by converting on third downs, and the Dolphins did that a few times. McKenzie gave up another big play this week that cost him a field goal really on that first drive. But overall, you got to say the defense is doing the job. You hold a team to 9 points, I mean, that's winning football. The offense, 70-some yards total offense, you're not going to beat anyone. Aaron Brooks, who can scramble, being sacked 3 times. I mean, to me, you have to have more plays that are quick design, quick throws. You don't have to throw it past 15 yards, and that's what's so frustrating. I mean, to get stopped on one offensive play when you got 3rd and 4 inches, I mean, that's ridiculous. 3rd and 4 inches, run a quarterback sneak or something. And the Saints overall seems like week in and week out, they need to put better pressure on the quarterback without having to blitz, and they're not able to do that. Another thing, in the red zone, when you get inside the 10-yard line, you can't kick field goals. You got to score touchdowns. And what else can happen? Dwight Smith intercepts the ball. You think he might go for a touchdown. We trip over our own shoes. I mean, it's like it's a grass snake out, the turf snake going out there. Dwight Smith fumbles to get the ball back. And so really, we're in the situation we should be, because the Dolphins are really taking care of business, converting on third down and controlling the tempo.
Being here and seeing this game in person for the first time since the Charlotte game, really, you've had to watch them on TV. I'd like to know if you've seen receivers and been able to spot receivers open when Aaron Brooks is running around scrambling. Have you been able to look downfield and see if he's just not finding them, or are they covered?
No, it's a combination of the route taking too long to develop, and the Dolphins are putting pressure. That ball got to come out. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got to know where to go with the football and not just count on your cannon arm. He does have a strong arm, but it's knowing about where to go with the football.
Bobby, look forward to hearing your comments after the game.
All right, thanks a lot. And hopefully they let the LSU band play a little more. Maybe the fans might get fired up.
All right. Yeah, that would be nice to hear. The fans have been pretty good. The band would be even better. Back here from Tiger Stadium coming up shortly, where the best signs so far are "Forget the Alamo." That's one sign that's in the stands, and the Black and Mold. Halftime with the score, the Dolphins 9 and the Saints 3. We'll be back with the start of the second half right after this.
Welcome back to Tiger Stadium. Jim Henderson alongside Hokie Gajan. Saints trailing the Miami Dolphins by a score of 9-3, and they will be taking in the second half kickoff. Much of the news of the day was made by Commissioner Paul Tagliabue in about a half-hour press conference before this game. Among the things he said of interest to Saints fans are the NFL will make every effort to keep the Saints in New Orleans. And probably the most emphatic thing he had to say was about reports that the Saints are destined to move to Los Angeles, perhaps after next year. Well, they'll make a stopgap effort in San Antonio. He said that is nonsensical. There are all the usual reports of landing spots being Los Angeles. It's always proven false. They've always been connected with a number of teams who've had stadium issues. The Colts, the Chargers, the Vikings. It's never happened. The Cardinals. And he very much discouraged any notion that Los Angeles will be the ultimate landing spot of the New Orleans Saints, so that's encouraging. What hasn't been encouraging so far has been the play of the Saints offense. Just 3 points on the board, that a 26-yard John Carney field goal that opened the scoring. Strong kickoff by Mare, fielded 3 yards deep by Stecker, bringing it out to the 10, he's to the 15, to the 20. As a flag is thrown, he's down at the 26-yard line. Saints have, coming into this game, 18 penalties on special teams through 7 games. That's as many as they had on special teams through 16 games all last season. That's a 29-yard return. Tom White about to tell us about the flag that rests at the 28-yard line.
Well, it becomes so painful to watch this week in and week out because, Jim, it's not that hard to do. If you can read the guy's name on the back of his jersey, don't block him.
There's no offensive holding in this play. First down.
Okay, all right. Something goes in favor of the Saints for a change.
They wanted to call offensive holding. The Saints had already retreated in anticipation of that. Now they have to move their huddle up about 5 more yards. So the run back to the 26-yard line will stand. 1st and 10, first play, third quarter. Saints down 9-3. Backs off set. Antoine Smith is the tailback. Wideouts left and right. Play action, Brooks. Pocket breaks down. Brooks scrambles. Runs with the football. Puts a move on the linebacker. Gets across the 32, up close to the 33-yard line, where he is tackled by defensive tackle Bonnie Holiday. That'll be a 6-yard scramble for Brooks, who has been averaging 8 yards per carry. He was sacked 3 times in the second quarter. This pressure defense of the Dolphins that Nick Saban loves to employ, getting to Brooks 3 times in the second quarter for the only 3 sacks of the day for either team. 2nd and 4 from the New Orleans 32. Stallworth in motion. Shad Meyer split out wide to the left. Now Horn comes in motion out of the backfield to the right. They'll throw it to Horn, makes the reception, driven out of bounds by the cornerback Travis Daniels, and that'll be a first down on a 6-yard reception. So the Saints convert on 2nd down. They had failed to convert on any of their 4 opportunities on 3rd down in the first half. A very desultory offensive performance for the Saints, but maybe they've rectified that at halftime. They pick up the first down here. It's 1st and 10 New Orleans at the Saint 38. 13:48 to play, quarter number 3. Mike Carney goes in motion. Running back is Smith, Antoine Smith. Nowhere to run left side. Might have picked up a yard at best, as Kevin Carter, the 11-year veteran out of Florida, who was released by the Titans in the offseason in a salary cap measure, makes the tackle. That's a 1-yard gain. Probably watched the Florida-Georgia game yesterday, didn't you?
No, actually I didn't. I was kind of saving myself for the LSU North Texas game last night. So I had to make sure I had all my energy stored for that one ball game.
What a track meet that was, one-sidedly. 2nd and 9 from the 39. Rolling to the right is Brooks. Throwing, catch is made by Horn. This won't amount to much, however, as he's taken down by the linebacker Channing Crowder after a 2-yard gain. Now Joe Horn, coming back after that hamstring injury, led the Saints in receptions with 3 in the first half for 58 yards. He's had a couple here early in the second half, and it brings up 3rd and 6 at the 42. Of course, Joe Horn was usually Aaron Brooks' favorite target on 3rd down. Back when he was 100%, he looks to be 100% today, and he split out wide to the left as the middle of 3 receivers between Stallworth and Henderson. 3rd and 6 from the Saint 42. Dolphins rush 4. Here's a throw, and it's going to be intercepted. He threw it right to the defensive back at the 41-yard line, intended for Henderson. Got to get this guy's number, and it is going to be Reggie Howard, the often picked on Reggie Howard with the interception. Maybe Henderson turned the wrong way. But that's another turnover for the Saints and a timeout on the field. 12:13 to play third quarter. Dolphins 9 and Saints 3. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
Allstate Insurance, good hands are here to help, so please call us at 1-800-54-STORM to report your loss. Allstate Insurance is here to help.
Reggie Howard with the interception, his first of the season, thrown directly to him by Aaron Brooks. Either he or Devery Henderson were not on the same page. Brooks now 8 out of 12 on the day for 88 yards, has been sacked 3 times and intercepted once. The Saints are minus 13 in turnover differential, worst in the NFL. On first down, they're going to run it with Brown, and Brown will be hauled down from behind by Darren Howard after a gain of a couple to the Saint 39-yard line. Well, you just keep putting your defense out there in a bad situation. Offense is doing nothing. This Miami offense doesn't send shivers down your spine defensively, but the Saints keep putting their defense back out there, and the Dolphins in good field position, having taken over here at the Saint 41. It's 2nd and 8 at the 39. Welker in motion. One back, that's Brown. Farrat, straight drop back. Throws near sideline, incomplete. Colby Bockwalt on the coverage of the tight end Randy McMichael. Would have been a very short gain if the reception were made.
Well, this ML scoreboard is brought to you by A1 Appliance and Electronics. Right now, the late games. San Diego leads Kansas City 21-3. That's at halftime. In the second quarter, Denver leads Philadelphia 28-0, and Tampa Bay 3, San Francisco 6 at the half.
And the Houston Texans won for the first time today, beating the Cleveland Browns to climb to 1 and 6. 3rd and 8 at the Saint 39 as this crowd makes some noise. Farrat in the shotgun, puts Welker in motion. Saints coming with a blitz up the middle. Farrat well protected, throws it downfield, incomplete, intended for Welker. The coverage by Mike McKenzie. And again, the Saints pass rush putting no pressure whatsoever on Farrat, just a badly thrown ball.
Yeah, and that's why Gus Farrat has bounced around the league for a bunch of years. I mean, you look at him in training camp and go, hey, he's a backup quarterback and everything else, but I mean, he's not a guy that's going to lead you where you need to go. Mike McKenzie, again, bites on the fake to the inside, gets himself out of position. Thank goodness that Gus Farrat just threw a bad ball.
And so the Dolphins will bring out Donnie Jones to punt it away. They're looking at 4th and 8 from the 39, so Jones will be trying to hang this thing high, force a fair catch inside the 10. Flag has been thrown as the Dolphins guilty of the false start. It looked to be Jeremiah Bell on the near sideline, one of the gunners, and the Saints will probably refuse it to make Jones kick on a short field. Saints do signal that the
false start. Number 37, offense, penalty is declined, remains 4th down.
Was Jeremiah Bell, who remains the gunner to the near side of the field. Fans here start the wave for something to do, since there's not a lot to cheer about. Jones's punt is hung high. The Dolphins trying to cover it, cannot. It lands some 5 yards deep in the end zone. So a touchback after a 39-yard punt will give the Saints the football on their 20 when we return. 11:21 to play third quarter. Dolphins 9 and Saints 3. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
Water Company employees, we are concerned about those of you that we have not heard from. If you have not contacted us, call us at 504-828-2500 or email us at abitaman@abitasprings.com. Abita Springs Water has resumed operations and welcomes you back to work, and if you hadn't called by now, chances are you ain't coming back.
Saints on 5 of 6 series have started inside their 30. They start this one from their 20, trying to get something going offensively. Brooks to throw. over the middle. Catch made. Devery Henderson up at the 34-yard line. Saints first down, and that draws a appreciative round of applause for the partisan fans, many of whom maybe stayed over in the parking lot last night. That's a 14-yard gain for the former LSU Tiger.
Yeah, well, they got to see one of their native sons catch a ball out here, and I tell you what, Devery's really come on here in the last few weeks.
First catch of the day for him on first down. Brooks to throw again, drops it off over the middle to Stecker. He's ridden down short of the 45-yard line by Channing Crowder.
Well, right there just a few minutes ago, just for all the Saints fans out there listening, we had a brief visit by Randy Mueller, came in to say hello. Two of the good guys with the Saints organization, me and you, so he came in. It was certainly nice to see him.
Saints are going to hurry things up to try to get in some rhythm here after an 11-yard gain and a first down to the 45. Handoff Stecker, right side, turns the corner, runs out of bounds to the safety of the Saints bench at midfield. Good to see Randy Mueller. Good to see an old friend of mine, Nooney Guichet. That's a 6-yard gain by Stecker. Nooney Guichet, who has managed the Tujak's restaurant for a number of years, wants to remind all of his customers, even those that pay, unlike myself, that they'll be reopened on Thursday.
Wow, great for them. I also understand he's a very good fisherman, unlike yourself.
He's an extremely good fisherman.
He makes you look good, just like I do every Sunday.
Well, I don't know about that. 2nd and 5 from the 49-yard line of the Dolphins. Saints getting a little something going here offensively as they speed things up. Brooks going to take off with the ball, pumps, stops, dives forward, picks up a yard, maybe 2. Pumped the ball a couple of times, thought about taking off, and was brought down by Vonnie Holiday after a 1-yard run.
Well, not a whole lot you can say about that. I mean, I think Aaron made the right decision. He didn't really have anything that he was looking at downfield. He's a little bit gun shy from the interception that he threw just a minute ago, tucked that ball and run, but Vonnie Holiday did a heck of a job playing his responsibility, keeping Aaron inside the pocket.
3rd and 3 from the 48. Brooks drops the ball and falls on it back at the 49. 3rd and 3 with a chance to get in scoring position with another first down. And Aaron Brooks looked like he was going to go on a half rollout to the left, pulled out too quickly, dropped the football, and Saints fans here, and they're between 60 and 65,000 estimated to be here, saying that this doesn't look much different from what we watched in preseason and last year at the moment offensively. And that's mistakes. Mistakes depriving the Saints of any sort of rhythm. Here's Berger's punt. To the near side of the field. Welker comes over, and it's going to hit and bounce and back up.
Get it.
Go ahead and cover it.
Yeah, don't.
Fred McAfee does.
Well, Fred McAfee had to be the one to get down there and say, look, you don't let it hit and back up and stop it. You got to get there while it's backing up. You got to stop it wherever the momentum is.
43-yard punt. Fred Booker was just watching it roll back upfield towards the Saints.
Oh, that's some dumb players on the team.
8:58 to play third quarter. Dolphins leading the Saints 9-3. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
Saints tradition to turn down the sound on your TV and turn up the Saints Radio Network next Sunday at 3 o'clock when the Saints take on the Chicago Bears right here in Tiger Stadium. Turn up the Saints Radio Network.
And the Saints fans turn up the volume as the Dolphins start from their 7. McMichael in motion, backs in an eye. Tailback gets the call. That's Brown. Spins away from McKenzie and is dropped about the 9-yard line. Taken down by Ron McKinnon, who tries to exhort the crowd.
He did. He got them fired up down there in the south end zone. I mean, Ronnie Brown picks up a couple yards right there when he should have been stopped for no gain, but it doesn't make any difference. I mean, do something to get this crowd going because obviously your offense is not going to do it, so you might as well do it defensively.
And the Dolphins haven't taken the crowd out of the game. The Saints have taken the crowd out of the game. 2nd and 8 from the Dolphin 9. They reset their backs. Tailback is Brown. McMichael in motion. Rod up under center. Play action. Rolls to his right. Has all the time in the world. Taking it downfield. Runs to the sideline. Pushed out of bounds by Cedric Hodge. McKenzie had to stand his ground and play off the receiver, thinking that Farrat still had an opportunity to throw it before he could close in on the quarterback. That's a 5-yard gain.
And that's exactly what he was doing. He was playing his responsibility. But somebody in the linebacker position or the defensive line position, I mean, look, Gus Farrat is not that fleet of foot. I mean, I think I could chase him down.
He carried 7 times for an average of 3.4 before that scamper. And it is now 3rd and 3 at the Dolphin 14. Let's see if the Saints can come up with a play defensively, get this ball back in scoring position. There's a pitch to Brown, gets outside of Smith, first down 20, 25 to the 30, and spun out of bounds at the 32-yard line. And so when they have to make a big play, they come up with a new wrinkle. Will Smith bites inside. Brown takes it outside for 18 yards, and the Dolphins are out of a hole. And let's pause 10 seconds for station identification. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network. That quiets the crowd, at least momentarily. 1st and 10 Dolphins from the Miami 32. Farrat going to throw a screen out there to Chambers, and he is really nailed by Mike McKenzie. That'll be a loss on the play. McKenzie, just all over. Chambers came roaring up and dropped him for a 3-yard loss.
Well, 2 plays back-to-back. I mean, the play prior to that, I mean, you can't very well ask Will Smith to be an open field and tackle a guy like Ronnie Brown. I mean, he's just got too much speed, but Will Smith did what he was supposed to do. He played his responsibilities. He didn't get fooled by the play. He just...
out quick.
Yeah, he just got out quick and outspeeded. Right there, Mike McKenzie comes up and makes one heck of a play for a 2-yard loss.
2nd and 13 from the 29-yard line. 2 wideouts to the left, 1 to the right. On the delay, this is going to be Ricky Williams running through tacklers beyond the 40 and up close to the first down, right around the 42-yard line. Dwight Smith brings him down. And that again quiets the crowd. It's a 13-yard burst and another first down.
Well, one thing that the Saints defense is going to figure out before this ball game is over with, Ricky Williams ain't what he used to be, but he's still somebody that you got to reckon with. I mean, he's not going to go down based on an arm tackle only, especially when you hit him in the upper body. You hit him around the ankles, he goes down pretty easy, but not when you hit him in the upper body.
Has carried 12 times for 57 yards, and Brown 13 for 57. This time, Williams is going to be ridden down by Ron McKinnon with some help from Jonathan Sullivan on the far sideline. A short gain on the play. That's a pickup of 1 yard. Well, Courtney Watson, as most Saints fans know, had some difficulty with the law over in San Antonio this week. Overnight on Wednesday, stopped for suspicion of drunken driving. And he was demoted to the second team today. McKinnon got the start, but Watson has played quite a bit, and he's in there now on 2nd and 9 from the Dolphin 43. Dolphins leading at 9-3 in a battle of field goals. Empty backfield behind Farrat. He drops, he looks, and he's going to be sacked. Will Smith finally gets him. Will Smith along with Brian Young. Let's give the sack to Young until told differently, the first of the day for the Saints.
Well, I mean, finally that pocket just collapsed around Gus Farrat. I mean, he'd had the opportunity of being able to sit there and watching that umbrella just open in front of him, and he was able to pick and choose his lane. That time the Saints finally got some push on the inside and closed all those lanes for him.
So the Saints able to drop Farrat, and I think it'll be Smith who'll get credit for it. Young mopped up. 3rd and 18 from the Dolphin 34. Welker in motion as the wind picks up here. Here's Farrat looking to throw, stepping up, has the ball swatted from his grasp from behind. Saints may have covered it at the 28-yard line.
Threw the beanbag down, so the official is saying that was a fumble. There we go.
And it was.
And I'm sure that Nick Saban is probably going to try and challenge this and send it up there because Farrat was in the motion of throwing. But where was his arm during the time of that throwing motion? Had he started coming forward yet?
Darren Howard from the blind side reached around and stripped Farrat of the football. I think Howard also covered it up. Howard was being double-teamed.
Oh, that's definitely a fumble.
And just at the last second before Farrat's arm came forward, he was able to reach out with his left hand and swat the ball out of Farrat's grasp. Saints recover at the 29-yard line of the Dolphins.
Okay, well, come on, offense. Let's see what you can do. I mean, your defense went out there. They let the Dolphins kind of get themselves out of a hole by being backed up, but now you got the ball on the 29-yard line. You got to do something right now to give your defense an upper hand in this ball game.
Trailing 9-3. Here's Brooks looking to throw, spins out of there, rolls to his left. Flag has been thrown, and he throws it downfield, incomplete, intended for Horn, but it looked like Wayne Gandy was holding back upfield on Bonnie Holiday.
When I tell you what happened, I think Wayne Gandy was guilty of his own infraction right there. He knew it was holding, but then he stuck his hands up in the air, and when the official saw that, he immediately threw the flag.
Number 72, 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
Every time this football team gets a little momentum, invariably they shoot themselves in the foot in other portions of their anatomy.
Well, you watch what he's doing right here. I mean, you know, he's blocking Bonnie Holiday. He realizes that he's holding right now, and then he lets him go, and he puts his hands up in the air like, I didn't do anything. And the official was standing right there and said, oh, no, yes, you did.
And got him for it. The Saints are back on the 39-yard line of Miami now, 1st and 20. Saints trailing 9-3, only a 26-yard John Carney field goal to show for their offensive performance. 2 wideouts to the near side, 1 to the far. Stecker behind Brooks. Here come the Dolphins as Brooks runs out of there and throws it out of the pocket to no one. This looks so much like Aaron Brooks of recent years. He's lost confidence in this offensive line to protect him. Even when he is protected, he's spinning out of there at the first opportunity. He's rattled and throwing the ball all over the lot.
Well, one thing that he was doing right there, right after he threw that ball, the first person he went to was Shad Meyer. And Shad Meyer, this is his first time being active so far this season. So I have to give a little bit of the benefit of the doubt right now.
On this play, number 80, the receiver was in the area. Incomplete pass.
Yeah, he was in the area. He was in the stadium, but he was not in the area where the ball was thrown.
That was Shad Meyer. Zach Hilton is inactive today, and Meyer playing for the first time as a Saint, never even played in preseason after undergoing preseason knee surgery. 2nd and 20 for New Orleans from the Miami 39. Henderson and Horn wide left, Stallworth wide right, Stecker behind Brooks. Here's Stecker on the delay. He runs it straight ahead for all he can get, which was about to the 31-yard line, and it'll set up about 3rd and 11 after an 8-yard gain.
I like that play, though, because now you got yourself back in field goal range. I mean, where they were before, after the holding penalty, they were really out of John Carney's effective range. So I like that. You put them in, now all you got to do, you don't even have to get the first down right now. You got 4 minutes left to go in the third quarter. You got plenty of time to come back in this ball game, but you can't just come away out of this golden opportunity with no points on the board.
3rd and 12 from the 31-yard line. Brooks in the shotgun. Here come the Dolphins in an all-out blitz. Brooks has to pirouette out of there, be hit from behind, and throw it away. This team does the worst job of picking up the blitz, I think, of any team I've ever seen.
Well, and especially when it's coming up the middle. When it's coming from the outside, you know, the quarterback, sometimes you just can't see that. When it's coming right up the middle. Now, that was not Aaron Brooks' fault. I'm not blaming Aaron on this at all. This is the running back's fault that they didn't step up in there and take on the blitzing defensive back that was coming right up the middle. So I pinned that on the running back. Aaron did as much as he could do, but you're absolutely right. They do a horrible job with picking up the all-out blitz.
Traveris Tillman, the strong safety coming up the middle, forced Brooks from the pocket. This will be a 49-yard attempt for John Carney. Bauman to hold. Wind is beginning to swirl. Carney doesn't have it very high, but he made it there and good.
That's all that matters.
Never got more than about 13 feet in the air, but it got at least 10 when it fell between the uprights. And a 49-yard field goal by John Carney pulls the Saints within 3. 3:37 to play third quarter. Dolphins 9 and Saints 6. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
And electronics right now. San Diego leads Kansas City 21-3 in the third quarter. And at halftime, it's Denver 28, Philadelphia 7, and in the third quarter, San Francisco leads Tampa Bay 6-3. And that is your NFL scoreboard, brought to you by A1 Appliance and Electronics.
Saints force a rare turnover. Garner minus 2 yards in 4 plays in 105. John Carney a 49-yard field goal. Here's the kickoff by Berger. It's a fairly short one. Welker comes up and fields it at the 8. He's back to the 20. Slips down and is covered up around the 27-yard line. Some pushing and shoving commenced. Mel Mitchell back down there. He's been out of the lineup on special teams for quite some time. That's a 16-yard return.
You're looking at Ricky Williams right now. He's got 13 carries for 58 yards, by far his best output of the season.
They come in with 11 carries for 7. 3:32 to play third quarter. Dolphins 9, Saints 6 in a battle of field goals. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
There has never been a better time to buy a brand new...
Stadium as the sun begins to set on the first regular season game in Tiger Stadium history. Dolphins have it 1st and 10 at their 26. Saints have pulled within 3. 9-6 our score. 3:32 to play third quarter. Handing off on first down to Ricky Williams is Farad, and he scrambles forward, ducking under a tackler to around the 31-yard line. Cedric Hodge along with Willie Whitehead on the tackle.
And this broadcast is presented by the authority of the National Football League and is intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this broadcast without the express written consent of the New Orleans Saints and the National Football League is strictly prohibited. A little gust of wind came through here and kind of disrupted rattled things around a little bit.
2nd and 5 from the 31. Boston in motion, backs and nigh. Here's Farad to throw. Saints coming up the middle, and he throws it away. Ron McKinnon was coming on a delayed blitz up the middle, and he tried to dump it off to McMichael. Hodge on the coverage, but Farad mostly throwing that away. Every time the Saints have brought some pressure, Farad has shown that he's not equipped to handle it, but they haven't been able to bring much pressure.
Yeah,
they've
only got one sack on him, and they really hadn't pressured him that much, but when they do bring some people in the gaps and everything else, it makes him hurry that throw, and then he's off target by a big margin.
3rd and 5 from the 31. You can hear the crowd in the background. Farad goes to the shotgun. 2 wideouts to either side. Ricky Williams stands to his left. Here's Farad as the Saints do come on a blitz, and it's incomplete. He has to throw it too quickly, and it's through the hands of backup tight end Lorenzo Diamond.
Yeah, and even if Lorenzo Diamond catches that ball, he's not going to make the first down. But what the Saints did, I mean, they showed something right from the get-go, and it made him hurry that throw, and he just wasn't on target with it.
The Saints were coming off the corner with one of their defensive backs, and Green throughout this game has shown that he's going to throw the ball a bit prematurely whenever he sees some pressure. So let's see if the Saints can capitalize on what should be decent field position. Donnie Jones to punt it away. It's a poor line drive punt that is going to be taken. No, Stallworth should have come up and fielded the ball. He did not. He got away from it. Then it bounced. He thought about taking it on one hop, thought better of that. And so with the roll, it's inside the Saint 15-yard line. That's a line drive punt that Stallworth should have fielded. Instead, it's a 55-yard return. And this is another example of how the Saints have been so poor in the return game without Michael Lewis.
Well, just not having an established return man back there. And I mean, what Dante did, he started calling everybody off, and he thought for a moment that maybe he'd signal for a fair catch, so therefore he can't pick up the ball and run with it.
So the Saints will start from deep in their own territory, squandering an opportunity to have much better field position. They're 14. And Brooks drops the ball and falls on it back at the 7. He has fumbled. He has dropped the ball just as he's getting out from under center.
And all he's doing right here, he's going back to try and pat the ball, and it just falls out of his hand. I cannot explain it.
It is pretty,
No, I don't think Aaron Stecker hit. I mean, it looked like it did. It looked like it may have just touched him just a little bit, but you have to have a better grasp on the football than that.
That'll be a Dolphin sack, and their 4th of the day. Brings up 2nd and 17. Now the line of scrimmage is the 8. Brooks out of the shotgun from a yard deep in his end zone. Wings it downfield, and it's incomplete.
Should have been called.
Horn came back for the ball, jumped for it at the 45-yard line of the Saints. Couldn't come down with it. Incomplete.
And that was nothing more than a prayer that Aaron threw right there. But really and truly, that ball should have been caught by Joe Horn because he did drop it in the bucket, and it went right through his hands.
The Saints on first down prior to this drive, I use that term loosely, had been averaging 7.3 yards per play. On third down, they've had no conversions in 7 attempts. 6 of their 9 first downs have come on first down. This is 3rd and 17 from his 8 for Brooks. Dolphins rush just 3, drop off 8, and Brooks is going to be taken down in the end zone for a sack.
On a 3-man rush.
On a 3-man rush. Unbelievable.
You just can't allow that to happen as an offensive line and as a running back sitting back there when you just bring nothing but a 3-man rush and those guys come scot-free and nobody picks him up. That you ought to be ashamed of yourself.
I think it was Kevin Carter. Brooks had a lot of time, couldn't find anybody, and then rolled out and almost was sacked by another one of the Dolphins. Give Carter the sack and the safety. This is one of those days like Aaron had in Green Bay. It's kind of like a walkabout day. He's just not there.
Well, he's had too many of these kind of days. You're talking about 2 fumbles right now. He had a botched center quarterback exchange. There just a minute ago, you thought maybe Aaron Stecker might have bumped into his hand. I didn't think that that's what happened. I thought Aaron went to cock the ball back, and as usual, it just fell right out of his hand. So, and now you're talking about, well, now, he was not at fault with that safety right there. The fault with that was the protection of the offensive line because they gave him absolutely no time to try and set up and throw the ball with a 3-man rush. You got 5 blocking 3, and you also got a running back in the backfield. Now you're talking about 6 blocking 3, and they flushed him out of the pocket immediately. Shame on the offensive line for allowing that to happen.
Yeah, but I still think he should have the presence of mind to throw it away and not try to make a play.
Well, but I mean, if you're back there in the end zone where he was and the way the pressure was coming, if he throws it away, they're going to call it intentional grounding. It's going to be a safety anyway.
Perhaps that's true. Not sure that entered into his thinking, but it could have been. Welker will await the free kick. Poor effort by Berger. Welker comes up, watches it bounce, and finally picks it up on a bounce at the 31-yard line, gets it back to around the 34. And the discouraging thing, if you're a Saints fan, is you can't even get a quarterback controversy going because you've seen enough of Todd Bauman to know that he can't play in this league.
That's exactly right. I mean, it's just everything's in the muddle right now. Let's go down to Kenny Wilkerson with an Abita Springs Water Saints Sideline Report. What you got, Kenny?
Well, you know, Aaron Brooks down here, not quite as lifeless as he was in Green Bay a couple of weeks ago. But just kind of walking around with a demeanor of, I don't know what to do. I'm not quite sure what's going on. Now, you know, there was a jailbreak on him there with only a 3-man rush, and it's pretty interesting to watch Jack Henry with the pictures looking things over with, especially with Charles Bentley and Jermaine Mayberry as they're trying to figure things out down here. But it's a lot. It's similar to what we've seen an awful lot of so far this year. They just can't seem to put their finger on what they're doing wrong, but they certainly are doing an awful lot wrong.
Are you referring maybe to this offsides on a free kick?
Yeah, that would add to it. I mean, you know, it's a shame too, guys, right now. I know there's a long way to go before this game's over and anything can happen, but this crowd has, and the fans have responded tremendously. It is loud, it has gotten loud. Now, it's nowhere near like a Saturday night for an LSU game, but they have definitely come to support this football team today, no matter what's happening out in the field. They are showing their true colors as being Saints fans.
And they have gotten almost no encouragement from the men in the black and gold. You see stuff every week out of this football team that you just don't see happen to anybody else.
Makes you scratch your head. And look, I'm tired of scratching mine. Mine's flat on the top.
35-40, 45, 48-yard line. Jason Kraft on the tackle. Mel Mitchell there as well. The Dolphins will have excellent field position after a 17-yard return.
You know, here for the last 3 years, we've been hyping this Saints offense about the potential that they have and the weapons that they have on offense and guys that can be playmakers for you and everything else. And more so than anything else, who continues to let you down week in and week out? It's the offensive players. I mean, you know they're not very good defensively. You just hope that they'll rise to occasion on any given Sunday. I don't know that the Saints offense has ever risen to the occasion.
1st and 10 from the 49-yard line of the Dolphins. They are leading it now by 5, 11-6. Play action. Farrat with a lot of time. Hit as he delivers the football, and it's going to be complete down to the 32-yard line. Caught by Booker. Cedric Hodge chasing him down. A 20-yard gain. Farrat did get hit as he delivered the football, having authored the play fake. And it was Brian Young who nailed Farrat as he delivered the football right between the arms of Cedric Hodge, who had his back to the quarterback. 1st and 10, Dolphins at the Saint 31.
1:07 to play, third quarter. First down, Ricky Williams, big hole, inside the 25, inside the 20, carrying a tackler with him down to the 15-yard line. Dwight Smith, along with Freddie Thomas on the tackle, but that's a 16-yard gain. Darren Howard came busting inside, and Williams juked to the outside for a first down at the Saint 16-yard line. 35 seconds remaining in the third quarter. Dolphins up 11-6. Haven't seen a touchdown in this one yet. Diamond in motion. Handoff Williams. Ricky Williams moves the pile down to around the 12-yard line. Dolphins don't have to run another play in quarter number 3. That's a 4-yard gain. The scoring in the quarter consisted of a John Carney 49-yard field goal and a Kevin Carter sack of Aaron Brooks. And we head to the final 15 minutes of regulation with the Dolphins on top of the Saints 11-6. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
O'Reilly Auto Parts will be donating $3 per rushing yard at the Saints game tonight to the Deuce McAllister Catch-22 Foundation. So, boys, y'all are in the passing mode.
So far, that's 56 rushing yards on 10 carries. Meanwhile, the Dolphins have gotten 83 out of Ricky Williams on 16 carries, 57 out of Ronnie Brown on 13. The Dolphins will move it left to right on the first play of the fourth quarter. The Saints are only down by 5 points, but have only scored 2 field goals and have just looked awful.
And you almost feel that the 5 points is insurmountable because their offense is so inept tonight.
The Dolphin offense has been pretty much the same with the exception of their two-pronged running attack. On 2nd and 6 from the 12-yard line of the Saints, handing it off to Ricky Williams. Williams is going to be hit from behind by Darren Howard, and that'll be a loss on the play of about a yard, it would appear. Well, the defense has really,
they have done their
well
part.
enough.
Yeah, they certainly have, because, I mean, you're talking about 11 points have been scored right now. 3 of those field goals. The Saints offense certainly put the Miami offense in position, but with the turnovers and everything else and the safety that they just had. So it's not the defense's fault. Hey, I mean, it ain't like these guys were world beaters tonight, but they have played, as you said, well enough to certainly keep this team in the ball game.
Loss of 2 brings up 3rd and 6 from the Saint 12. Booker split out wide to the right. Welker, along with Chambers, wide left for Rod from the shotgun. Steps up, throws into the end zone, wide open, touchdown Chambers. Beat Fakir Brown, who stumbled, and the Dolphins score the first touchdown of this game on a 12-yard reception by Chambers, his 3rd touchdown catch of the season.
And that certainly may be an insurmountable lead for the Saints offense because, I mean, they really showed no spark, no fire, going back to the same things that we saw in the Minnesota game, in the Green Bay game, in the Giants game, everything else. I mean, just too many mistakes. And right there, another blown coverage by the Saints defense. And as we were just talking about them, at least holding their own in this ball game, they give up the big play and the touchdown.
Fakir Brown stumbled, may not have been able to make the play anyway. Olindo Mare adds the extra point. And with 14:09 to play in this one, it is now the Dolphins 18 and the Saints 6. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
By A1 Appliance Electronics. Right now, San Diego leads Kansas City 21-10 in the third quarter. Also in the third quarter, Denver 28, Philadelphia 7. And right now in the battle of field goals, much like this one was until the Dolphins just scored their first touchdown just a minute ago, San Francisco leads Tampa Bay 12-3 in the third quarter.
Right now, Chris Sims not the answer to Tampa Bay as they managed just a field goal. The Dolphins go 51 yards in 5 plays and 2:43. A final 12-yard strike for Rod to Chris Chambers. First touchdown of this game, 18-6. Dolphins. Ball bounces into the end zone, and Stecker will kneel. Saints will start at the 20. Brooks on the day, 113 passing yards. Has lost 62 yards and 5 sacks, and he has 51 net passing yards. Timeout on the field, 14:09 to play. Quarter number 3. Dolphins 18 and the Saints 6. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
All right, it's a New Orleans Saints tradition to turn down the sound on your TV and turn up the Saints Radio Network next Sunday at 3 o'clock when the Saints take on the Chicago Bears right here in Tiger Stadium. Turn up the Saints Radio Network.
So struggling Aaron Brooks back up under center. 1st and 10 Saints from the New Orleans 20. They have 2 John Carney field goals of 26 and 49 yards to show for their work. And here's Brooks hit from behind from the blind side. Ball rolls free, picked up by Carney, and Brooks is shaken up.
Now there is a flag down in the secondary, Jim, about 31-yard line.
Aaron Brooks took a heck of a shot from the blind side. Bought a flag, as Hokie said, as Tom White and company talk it over back at the 10-yard line. And he's about to tell us about it.
Illegal contact, number 99, defense, while quarterback was still in the pocket with the ball. 5 yards, automatic, first down.
Give that one to me again.
99.
Illegal contact by 99, so he must have dropped off. That's Jason Taylor.
Jason Taylor, yeah.
Had to have dropped off in pass coverage.
Had to be something. I mean, I don't understand why he was 11 yards downfield.
No.
I mean, it doesn't make any difference, but I mean, that's where the ball was, the flag was thrown, was 11 yards downfield.
So it is going to be 1st and 10 from the 25. Might have had the number wrong. Here come the Dolphins again on an all-out blitz, and Brooks throws it up for grabs. Henderson looks for it, can't find it, incomplete. Looked over the inside shoulder, thrown over the outside shoulder, and an incompletion. Brooks just had to throw it for all he was worth as he was about to go down again.
And let's go right down to Kenny Wilkerson. What you got, Kenny?
Well, guys, I do believe he had the number wrong. I think it's 91 Holiday, who is just killing Gandy. And he normally can line up on the inside, comes outside sometimes, but I mean, he is just play after play after play killing it. If they don't get a tight end over there to help out Gandy soon, then there's going to be probably a hurt quarterback here, and we'll end up seeing Bauman, or who knows. But Holiday is just wiping him out.
2nd and 10 from the Saint 25. 13:37 to play. Dolphins up 18-6. Here's Brooks going to throw short, and that's going to be tipped at the line of scrimmage by Jason Taylor. Being blocked on by Wayne Gandy, incomplete, and you can hear the Bluebirds.
Well, I mean, it's kind of going bad to worse for Aaron. I mean, in a typical Aaron Brooks ball game, I mean, he has his share of mistakes, and he has his share of things that he gets criticized for that are not really his fault. But, you know, here a couple times that the Dolphins have come with a blitz, he's had no time. He's just kind of had to hang the ball up there, try and put it out in the area on the field where maybe somebody in a black uniform can make a play on it. But that particular case right there, you got an opportunity to dump it all off to the back of the flat. You need to put some air under that ball and get it to him.
He's missed his last 5 passes, and on 3rd and 10, this will be blown dead. Delay of game. And it wasn't even close. I mean, it wasn't like they were ready to run that flag. They were just standing there calling signals. Well, it wasn't even close to being run.
One thing we know for a fact, there are a lot of Saints fans in this stadium, because otherwise they wouldn't boo with something like that, but they've seen it too many times before.
61,643 people who deserve so much more than this. Here's Brooks. Going to throw deep down the seam for Henderson, and it is dropped. At the 42-yard line, Henderson had the ball in his hands, but dropped it. How about the middle linebacker, Zach Thomas, running downfield
with a speedster like Devery Henderson. I tell you what, hey, Jim, I know he threw it into double coverage, but it wasn't a bad throw. Now, I don't know if I was a quarterback, if I would have thrown that ball because of double coverage, but it did hit Devery Henderson right in the hand.
Right through the hands of Lance Schulters. Thomas was in a trail mode. Schulters had the ball go through his hands, and Berger almost has that punt blocked. And Berger goes down, a flag has been thrown. And this is Welker heading to the sideline, but there's a flag down back at the 9-yard line, running into the kicker. So it's only 5 yards, and the Saints needed 15. That's a 50-yard punt with an 11-yard return.
Even if they would have got the roughing the kicker call, it just depends on exactly where the ball would be spotted. Would the Saints have gotten the first down anyway? I mean, if I'm Jim Haslett right now, you know, you take that 5 yards and you put it again and you hope something happens. Maybe guy muffs the punt, he bobbles it, whatever else. Running into the kicker, Miami, penalty is declined. DeLong will take the result of the play. First down, timeout.
So the Saints will take the result of the play, and with 13-14 left, the play hasn't been expired. The Dolphins 18 and the Saints 6. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network. Heading to the exits, 61,643 were in their seats around 3:05 today when the sun was drenching Tiger Stadium. The spirits were high. And as I said earlier, these 61,643 and all the people on the Saints staff who just worked their tails off for weeks to make this happen have no idea, I don't think most of us do, how difficult it is for all the people on the staff to put an operation like this together. The first regular season game ever in Tiger Stadium, to move ticket offices here, personnel, to satisfy season ticket holders looking to exchange their tickets for tickets here. What's happened with this team? I know they've had death threats at the office here in Baton Rouge. They've had people coming by throwing things into the office to show their displeasure. It's been a tremendously hard task for all the members of this staff, and yet you get 61,643 fans who turn out under this situation, and this has been their reward. First and 10 at the 40-yard line of the Dolphins. Diamond in motion from his tight end position. Run it with Brown, and Brown twists and turns his way beyond the 45 up close to the 46-yard line. A pickup of 6.
Yeah, I mean, right now, Nick Saban, he's kind of holding all the cards out there. I mean, he's looking at what his defense is able to do against the Saints offense, and he's saying, hey, I know I don't have a great quarterback in Gus Farratt, and, he doesn't have to win it for us by throwing it or anything like that. We can go where we think we do best, and that's running game, because our defense will hold the Saints offense in check.
2nd and 4 from the Dolphin 46. Here's Brown trying to break it outside. He'll be taken down by Freddie Thomas around the line of scrimmage as a flag is thrown. Right in front of the Dolphin bench as the coaches go crazy, so maybe there was a face mask here. Will Smith registering his disgust with the officials. With unnecessary roughness. One of the more mild-mannered guys on this team, but this defense has to be pretty well frustrated about now, considering the plight their offense has put them in much of the time.
Well, you think about the big turnover that they got. Here comes Darren Howard around the corner. He strips Gus Farratt of the football and then continues on, finishes out the play, and gets the fumble recovery by Gus Farratt on the 29-yard line. Saints can do nothing with it.
The officials got that wrong. I'll tell you about it in a second. Here's Farratt throwing down the near sideline for Chambers, and it is incomplete. Broken up by Mike McKenzie, running step for step with him at the 2-yard line. It was not Colby Bachwald. It was Ron McKinnon who came in late on that previous tackle. They said 57. It was 59. Nice play here by Mike McKenzie to strip Chambers of the ball. On single coverage on that fly pattern down the near sideline. 2nd and 10 from the Saint 39. Saints have 2 turnovers in this game defensively. Diamond in motion, joins Brown in the backfield, blocks for him as Brown runs over right guard for a yard, maybe 2, and it'll bring up 3rd down. Give him 1 yard on the carry. Freddie Brown's been pretty well kept in check for big gains. Ricky Williams hasn't had a lot of big gains, but they've done just enough to put Farratt in very few situations like this. 3rd and long. 3rd and 9 from the 38-yard line. Fans that are here making some noise. We have 11:38 to play, and the Saints are down by 12. Backs offset. Brown in motion. Tailback is Williams. Here's Farratt. Pump sets up a screen to Ricky Williams. Hit in the backfield by a pair of Saints. The first, Watson. And then it was also Darren Howard in there on him, and Farad is slow to get up, and there is a flag down against the Saints, which has got to be against the Saints for properly roughing the passer. Unbelievable. Farad is gimpy as he gets up. We'll see who it was that hit him.
Roughing the passer. Number 91. First down.
Got his hands up around the throat of Gus Farad. Anytime you hit the quarterback from the neck on up, you're going to get penalized, and Will Smith does. So,
heck, it's more. I don't know if it's a neck on up. I think it's from his waistband up. If you hit him above the waistband, you're going to get called for a penalty.
Farad with a good job of acting as well. You'd think he'd had his head taken off. All he got was really a blow to the larynx from Will Smith, but when the Saints have an opportunity to get the defense off the field and maybe make something happen offensively, they are again their own worst enemy, and it is 1st and 10, Dolphins at the Saint 23. 18-6 our score, just over 11 minutes to play. Diamond in motion. He'll be a fullback for Brown's carry. Brown twists, turns, tackled right around the line of scrimmage by Brian Young. Ron McKinnon there as well.
Well, I think you got to give the Saints defense credit, even though after that penalty right there, I mean, they're not letting down. Those guys are still flying to the football, trying to make something happen. And if something good can happen, and the Saints offense can take over, and something good happen to them, I mean, this game is not out of reach with 10 minutes to go. But if they continue to sit there and let the Dolphins chew up the clock, then it will be, because the Saints offense is just not going to have enough time.
2nd and 11 from the Saint 24. Chambers and Welker to the near side of the field. Boston to the far. Welker in motion. They give it off to the up back, and that's Brown who's smothered. Brian Young in on the tackle. Loss of 3. They run that little influence play where they run somebody out wide, try to occupy the linebacker on the backside, and then run it up the middle, and that time Brian Young had it read all the way. And it brings up 3rd down, 3rd and 14 at the 27 of the Saints. We have less than 10 minutes to play. Saints were on top 3-0 early in this game. That was their last lead. On 3rd and 14 from the Saint 27. Farad from the shotgun. Saints coming with a blitz. Farad's going to throw it down the far sideline, incomplete. Beautifully played by Fakir Brown. The intended receiver was Marty Booker. Brown had position, slowed down, let Booker run right up his back. He had no opportunity to make the reception.
And that's exactly what your coach should do in that situation. You have as much right to the path of the football as the receiver does. Fakir Brown does a heck of a job. And I tell you what, I credit the official there for a no call. Yep.
Looks to be a 46-yard, making a 45-yard field goal attempt by Murray that is on its way, and it is true. And so the Dolphins extend their lead with 9:28 to play. It is now Miami 21 and the Saints 6. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
All right, there has been no Hibernian National Bank Challenge. It's brought to you this ad by Hibernian National Bank, the official bank of the New Orleans Saints. But if there is, we will bring it to you. And right now, you can open a Hibernia personal or business checking account and get an emergency roadside kit free. Make Hibernia your official bank and trust all your financial needs with the one you know, Hibernia, where service matters.
8 plays, 33 yards, 346, 46-yard Orlando Murray field goal, 21-6 lead Dolphins. Murray kickoff, fielded by Stecker at the 3. Used to the 10, looking for a block from McAfee, gets it, breaks it off to the 20-25, and another flag has been thrown. He's down at the 36-yard line. It is almost unbelievable if this goes against the Saints, and you got to believe that it will. It's almost unbelievable that you can commit this many penalties on special teams.
No, it's not unbelievable. It's inevitable. It's going to happen.
Number 51, during the return, the 10-yard penalty, first down.
Terrence Melton. It's usually at least one a game.
Oh, meltdown Melton.
Yep.
I mean, this is just getting absurd, Jim.
Saints have been penalized 7 times for 73 yards. And they'll start from their 13-yard line, 1st and 10, trailing by 15 points, 21-6. Here come the Dolphins on the blitz.
Brooks dumps it off in the right flat to Stecker. Stecker makes a nice move. Will be dropped from behind at the 19-yard line. Chased down by the linebacker Channing Crowder after a gain of 7.
Well, but if you notice right there, I mean, Nick Saban is not playing some safe defense right now. He brought a blitz because he said, you know what, we've been able to do that all game long. We've been able to rattle Aaron Brooks, and all Aaron could do right there was throw it off to his dump-off valve.
2nd and 3 from the 20. Brooks from the shotgun. Steps up, runs with the football, slides down short at the 25-yard line, but that'll be a safe first down.
Well, I mean, you ain't got a whole lot of time right now to get in the huddle and call plays and everything else. Unless you can throw a pass to the boundary, get the ball out of bounds where you can come over and get yourself in the huddle, the Saints have to do exactly what they're doing right now. Let's go to the no-huddle offense.
1st and 10 from the 25 after a 5-yard gain. This time the blitz is picked up, and the ball's thrown low to Joe Horn at the 39-yard line. Incomplete. Coverage by Milwaukee Thomas. Saints wanted a pass interference call. Brooks 11 out of 22 for 120 yards, and he has been intercepted. He has been sacked. And that did look like it could have been an interference call.
Well, there was definitely some contact. But I'm going to tell you something, Jim, and I firmly believe this. When you're a coaching staff and a group of players, and all you do is sit down and bitch and complain to the officials all game long, you don't get the calls that you're looking for.
I would agree. 2nd and 10 from the 25. Brooks throws, complete to Horn, spins away from the tackle, across the 30, dropped at the 42-yard line. Taken down by Tillman. Missing him initially was Milwaukee Thomas. And that's a 17-yard gain, a Saint first down with 8 minutes to play. And the Saints trailing by 15, 21-6.
Well, the only point I was trying to make about that is, I mean, officials get graded on their games too, but, I mean, when you just constantly listen to somebody complain in your ear, you're not going to get those fringe calls.
On first down, here's Brooks, going to throw off his back foot and throws it wide of Stallworth, incomplete at midfield. And the coverage by Reggie Howard. The ball was thrown wide of Stallworth, who had an opportunity to catch a better thrown ball. Well, one thing I do not want to hear, and I don't want to hear any Saint fan or coach after this say, boy, you know, we didn't get booed in San Antonio. You know, this felt like being back in the Superdome with people booing the home team. The people in San Antonio got a chance to watch this kind of football, and they've only had 2 games there, both of them entertaining. They watch this year after year. Won't be long before they're booing too. After a catch by Stallworth, the ball is fumbled and picked up by the Dolphins. Recovered and brought back to the 49-yard line of the Saints by Bonnie Holiday.
You're absolutely right on what you're saying. Get yourself a belly full of this for 30 years, and yeah, I mean, it's, hey, they still want them here. They still want them in Louisiana, but don't tell us that we don't have the right to boot.
Because they've just seen way too much of this for far too long.
Well, this NFL scoreboard is brought to you by Lennox Air Conditioning and Heating. Right now, San Diego leads Kansas City 21-13 in the 4th quarter. In the 3rd quarter, Denver leads Philadelphia 28-21, and San Francisco leads Tampa Bay 12-10 in the 4th quarter. And that's your NFL scoreboard, brought to you by Lennox Heating and Air Conditioning.
Well, this will send a few more people probably to the parking lot.
That play's been if you let me go.
You can't go. I'm tied you to the chair. This play has been challenged by the Saints bench, and Tom White very slowly is making his way over to the hood. He's getting in the hood is what he's doing, and he's going to look at this play to see if I guess Stallworth was down by contact. I guess that's about
well, I mean, down by contact, and he could have had a knee down. I mean, there's a lot of different things. I mean, you know, what does Jim Haslett have to lose in this whole thing? I mean, you got to make some kind of challenge, because that would have been, I'm not exactly sure, but I think it would have been a first down that the Saints would have had. You'd at least keep something going, a little bit of momentum, everything else. So I don't blame him for making this challenge. I have not seen the replay, don't know what my opinion of the whole thing is, but you know what? Hey, Jim, go ahead and make the challenge right now.
Yeah, it's better than taking timeouts into the locker room with you, or spending them all before the 2-minute warning.
Yeah, taking a beating when you could have, you know, said, hey, you know, at least somebody challenge this whole thing. Let's see. This is the first chance I'm going to get an opportunity to look at it.
Well, let's pause 10 seconds in the meantime for station identification. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network.
C107.5, KCIL, Houma, Thibodeau, New Orleans, Louisiana-owned, Louisiana proud, a guarantee broadcasting station.
Today's best country, 107.5 KCIL.
I mean, 2 feet hit the ground, but he never had possession. If they said Ernie Conwell didn't have possession of the ball last week, then this is definitely non-possession.
Well, that's what it's become for the Saints, that you have to challenge a call to get the ruling that we didn't catch it.
Hold on just a minute. We didn't catch
that. He didn't catch that.
Yeah.
And you know what? He didn't catch it.
He did not. He did not.
He never had possession of that ball, and so that's apparently what Jim Haslett is hoping that Tom White will see underneath the hood, and that's that Stallworth never had possession of that ball, therefore could not fumble it. Well, it's amazing what you've seen the last 3 weeks as a Saints fan. Things you don't really see very often. There was the pull and shoot back in the Atlanta game. There was the replay fiasco inside the 2-minute warning last week in St. Louis. This week, you had a play that the Saints intercepted in the end zone. Were taking it back upfield. Dwight Smith tripped over Freddie Thomas, who was the only player in the area, and fumbled the ball back to the Dolphins. So those are some of the plays we've seen.
Yeah.
Okay,
let's go right down to Kenny Whipperton. Kenny, we couldn't hear the official. What did he say?
Okay, he said that the receiver did not have possession, and Tom White, as he come out here, they spent a lot of time going over where the yard marker is going to be and where they will have the football. That's what he's trying to explain right now. So obviously it's going to be first. I guess they're going to give it to him for 1st and 10 for the Saints, and they won't lose their timeout on this situation. But as you guys were seeing, as you all watched it up there, he didn't have enough possession, or at least long enough.
So one of the loudest cheers for the Saints offense today is an incompletion. Yeah, that's what it's kind of become.
Yeah, but now it's going to be 3rd and 10 for the Saints. I mean, I know what Kenny was thinking because of what he was thinking with the change of possession, but it'll actually bring it back down to where the Saints were before, and that'll be a 3rd and 10.
So Jim Haslett's challenge is successful. 3rd and 10 for the Saints from the New Orleans 42. 7:38 remaining. Saints trailing 21-6. Henderson split out wide to the left. Horn and Stallworth wide right. White coming in to say something to Aaron Brooks before marking the football ready for play. Aaron Stecker stands to the left of the Saints quarterback in the shotgun. Dolphins haven't called off the dogs, and they won't again. Here they come with the pass rush, and Brooks is in trouble. Steps up, runs with the football, is hit by Holiday at the 45-yard line after a gain of about 3 yards.
Well, I mean, if you're Jim Haslett right now, you're in 4-down territory. I mean, what the heck you got to lose? I don't see any reason to send his punt team out there right now. I mean, if it's me, I'm going for it.
And they will. It'll be 4th and 7 from the Saint 44. The Saints this year have gone for it 4 times on 4th down, been successful just once. The opposition's been 1 out of 5 on 4th down against this Dolphin defense. Here come the Dolphins with an all-out blitz, and Brooks throws it up there, incomplete. Horn saying he was interfered with. Brooks was clobbered from behind. And, you know, I agree with you totally. And Aaron Brooks is slow to get up. He's taking a real beating today, especially from the blind side. You see it so often. If it's been good to you all game long, why back out of it and play safe at the end of a game that probably still isn't in doubt, but why stop what you're doing? Because the Saints haven't been able to handle this Dolphin pressure all game long. That was Reggie Howard who slammed Brooks from the backside.
And Aaron Brooks knew it was coming, too, and that's why he heard the throw.
So the Saints failed to convert on 4th down with 6:51 to play. 1st and 10 Dolphins at the Saint 44. Saints coming up to the line of scrimmage, and Brown runs right through the hole. Inside the 30, 25-20, weaves his way inside the 15, fights his way inside the 10. The Saints come on a blitz. The Dolphins run right through the vacant hole for 35 yards.
And let's go right down to Kenny Whipperton.
All right, guys, I just heard that, as y'all can see, an awful lot of fans leaving and heading for the stands. There's been numerous parking lot plays, as we like to refer to. And none other than Tom Benson is also heading for the parking lots right now. It's my understanding that he also shoved a camera, one of your Channel 4 cameras, out the way as he got off the elevator a few minutes ago, Jim. So Mr. Benson has already left the building, or at least on his way to the vehicle right now, and not a very happy man. Imagine that.
First and goal from the 9. Ronnie Brown back to the line of scrimmage, and that's about it. Willie Whitehead had him down around the ankles. No gain on the play. Well, Tom Benson was out on the field before the game, which I was surprised about, and I think a lot of people were. I didn't hear any untoward remarks toward him. I think people were respectful of him. Given these circumstances, I found that really quite surprising, but they were, at least when I was watching. So he did go down on the sideline prior to the game before making his way up here to the suite next door to us, but apparently he's decided to beat what remains of the traffic and the media attention with 5.5 minutes remaining. Second and goal from the 9, and it's dropped by Welker, running an end around back at the 18-yard line. Remember, the Rams ran that down around the 5-yard line for a touchdown last week.
I'll tell you what, though, Jim. Directly across from us on the other side of the field, about 20 rows up, is a big sign, "Save our Saints." I mean, that's what the Saints fans are all about. I mean, they've seen a miserable football game, but they ain't giving up hope.
And they've seen pretty much miserable football for the entire existence of this franchise. And they still come out. They still cheer. They still hope. Third and goal from the 17. Williams bangs into Farad. Farad holds on to the football and is dumped at the 18-yard line for a loss of 1. It'll be a running attempt for Farad and not a sack, and on comes Olindo Mare. He's hit from 46, he's hit from 41, he's hit from 36, he's hit from 37. So attempting his 5th field goal. He's had 4 or more 9 times in his career. From 36 yards away, Mari's kick is up and no good. He missed it wide to the left. So a 36-yard Mari field goal is about the only bad news of the second half for the Dolphins. And they still come out. They still cheer. They still hope. Third and goal from the 17. Williams bangs into Farad. Farad holds on to the football and is dumped at the 18-yard line for a loss of 1. It'll be a running attempt for Farad and not a sack, and on comes Olindo Mare. He's hit from 46, he's hit from 41, he's hit from 36, he's hit from 37. So attempting his 5th field goal. He's had 4 or more 9 times in his career. From 36 yards away, Mari's kick is up and no good. He missed it wide to the left. So a 36-yard Mari field goal is about the only bad news of the second half for the Dolphins.
Well, I mean, let me ask you something right now. I mean, if you're Jim Haslett, do you... I don't know. I mean, you got to keep Aaron Brooks in the ball game, anything else, but we know what Todd Bauman can or can't do. What would be the harm in putting a guy like Adrian McPherson in the ball game right now? I mean, Aaron is taking a pounding in this game. I mean, I'm just saying that I'm not blaming this loss on him. I'm certainly not saying that in any way, shape, or form. I'm just saying that that guy's taking a beating. I don't know if he'll make it the rest of the season with the pounding that he's taken so far this afternoon.
First and 10 at the 21-yard line. Make that the 26-yard line. Scoreboard is wrong. Flag. As Brooks retreats to pass. Probably a false start. No indication as yet. That's exactly what it is.
Number 83, 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
False start by your wide receiver, Dante Stallworth. Well, it'll be Chicago coming here next week with a 4-3 record, and then the bye weekend, and then trips to New England and New York. It's going to be first and 15 for the Saints from the 21. Brooks rolling to the right, being chased by Carter. Keeps the football across the 30, 35-40. Brought down at the 41-yard line. Ball comes free, but they will rule him down by contact. Brooks chased down from behind by David Bowens.
Well, that's kind of what I was saying right there. Aaron broke around the pocket. I mean, be your own best friend. Go ahead and pick up positive yardage whenever you can.
21-yard gain. 1st and 10 Saints at the New Orleans 41, 3:50 to play. Dolphins up. And here's a pass to Horn, a short one on a quick slant, incomplete. The Dolphins on top, 21-6. Kind of look for a turning point in this game, and it's really hard to find one because the Saints have played so miserably for the most part all day long on offense. Maybe the interception by Dwight Smith in the end zone that ended up being a fumble and a 37-yard Mari field goal. They tied it at 3. The Saints never led thereafter. 2nd and 10 from the 41-yard line of New Orleans. Here come the Dolphins. This is picked up, and it's going to be caught in a juggling reception by Stallworth at the 30-yard line. That time the Saints picked up the blitz. The ball was well thrown. Stallworth made a juggling reception, good for 29 yards to the 30-yard line.
I tell you what he does a nice job of is fighting himself to get inside position on the cornerback. And I mean, he did bobble it a couple times, but you know, keep your presence of mind and go ahead and just catch it and get down on the ground with it. And because you know you picked up the first down and give your team a fresh new set of plays.
Victimizing Reggie Howard, who got the start today for Sam Madison. And we said way back at the beginning that Howard figured to be a target. The Saints worked on him early, but obviously not very successfully because they've been limited to 2 field goals of 26 and 49 yards by John Carney to date. 3:24 to play. 2nd and 10 Saints at the Miami 30-yard line. Henderson and Horn wide right. Stallworth in motion to the left. Dolphins rush 4. Brooks pumps. Can't find anybody, and he'll be dropped and sacked. Jeff Scanina with his first sack of the season. We had that as the 6th of the day for the Dolphins. 6 sacks on the day for the Miami Dolphins, who came into this game with 15 through 6 games.
Well, I mean, look right there. I mean, Jeff Scanina, all he did was just fight through the double team with Charles Bentley and Jermaine Mayberry, the right guard. And I mean, I'm just sorry, when you block a 2-on-1, you as the offensive line ought to win that battle.
On 3rd and 16, it's fit in nicely to Horn, who makes a sliding reception short of the first down. They'll stop the football after a 15-yard reception at the 21-yard line, and the Saints take a timeout. So the Saints trying to make it look a little bit better in the morning paper with a touchdown here, though the game hasn't been in doubt for quite some time. And you look at this team and you think about it, is there anybody on it who is playing better than you would have expected through a 2-6 start after today?
Well, the only person I can think of would be Jamal Brown. I mean, he's missed a couple of ball games, but it's hard to look at an offensive tackle and go, well, that guy's really playing well because he doesn't put the ball in the end zone, he doesn't score points, things like that. Their usual cast of characters, if you will, Joe Horn, Deuce McAllister, Aaron Brooks, all those guys are really kind of slumping right now. So when I look at this team, I mean, I look at a guy like, I mean, gosh, how many times we call Wayne Gandy's name here in the last couple of weeks because offsides, holding, illegal procedure, and everything else. Yeah, we've done it with Jamal Brown, but not near to the extent that we have with Wayne Gandy.
Saints will go for it on 4th and 1 from the 21. Brooks out of the shotgun. Here come the Dolphins. Brooks running for his life back at the 35, throwing it incomplete to Henderson, and it's the Dolphins' ball as the Saints now are 0 out of 11 on 3rd down, 0 out of 2 on 4th down.
Well, I just don't like Aaron Brooks in a rollout mode. I mean, I think he needs to be a drop-back quarterback. I mean, if anything, right there, you put him in a situation where he takes a couple steps back and he maybe runs a design quarterback draw or something like that. But I have never liked him on a rollout, especially when he has to go to his left. Now, he had to go to his left right there, not by design, but because he got pressured. But even in a situation like that, man, I take my chances with something up the gut with a running back, or just a check down route from a running back, something like that, but not sending him on a rollout.
So the Dolphins trying to run out the clock here on a victory. Movement along the defensive line, no flag. Ronnie Brown hauled down from behind as he runs hard up to the 26-yard line. Taken down by Josh Bullocks with Ron McKinnon in the neighborhood as well. 5-yard gain, and the Saints will take their second timeout. The Dolphins next week will host the Atlanta Falcons. Meanwhile, the Saints will be right back here in Baton Rouge to take on the Chicago Bears before enjoying their bye week. And I say that advisedly because I'm not sure the Saints will really enjoy a bye week this year, considering how poorly they have played. This will be their 4th straight loss. They have lost 2 very tough games recently, though they played badly against the Rams, well against the Falcons, and poorly here against the Dolphins.
Well, I've told you this many times. I can accept a loss when you play hard and, you play the right kind of football. I mean, not necessarily mistake-free, but when you go out there and just bust your rear end, hey, a lot of times things don't go your way. You don't get the right call from the officials, but you played hard, you kept yourself in the ball game. Saints were really never in this game.
2nd and 5 from the 26. Brown again, showing some quick feet and some tenacity. As he finds a little sliver of daylight, and that carries some more discouraged Saints tacklers with him, just short of the first down, it would appear. It looks like the Saints may have called their last timeout. So for the Saints, it'll be back on the bus, back to the airplane, flying back to San Antonio for another week of practice and adjustments. Jim Haslett told me before the game that he spoke to the team last night and told them this is a great opportunity in your life. Someday you will look back on this and see all the things you fought through and overcame. Well, so far they aren't fighting through it, and so far they haven't overcome.
Well, you think about how this season all started off. I'm not talking about the preseason. I'm talking about when the regular season got here. Played a very inspired football game up there in Charlotte, and you thought, even as the most cynical of Saints fans would say, you know what, this could be the start of something magical because of the way that they played in that football game. And then since then, it's been all downhill. And look, yeah, they beat the Buffalo Bills, but you know what? Buffalo's not a very good team. I mean, you throw them in Miami out there on the field and let them play 10 times. One team's going to win 5, the other team's going to win 5. And it just hasn't been that magical season that maybe we thought it would be based on that performance against Charlotte, because I saw a team with passion and emotion and a team that wanted to win.
And now the last 2 weeks they've been beaten by the likes of Gus Frerotte and Jamie Martin.
Oh boy.
With some help from Ricky Williams and Ronnie Brown. Ronnie Brown has run 22 times for 104 yards. Ricky Williams 17 for 82. For the most part, those have been hard-earned yards against the Saints defense that has been on the field way too much today. And the Saints really have played their best football against Michael Vick. When it comes to stopping a quarterback through the air, they shut him down extremely well. In fact, they only had 112 yards passing with the Falcons. But then you got Jamie Martin and Gus Frerotte beating him. On second effort, probably getting the first down is Ronnie Brown. And he does have the first down. The Saints have no more timeouts. And the clock continues to run down to the 2-minute warning. And with 2 minutes left in this one, it is the Dolphins 21 and the Saints 6. This is the New Orleans Saints Radio Network. Night here in Baton Rouge. But when it all began, 61,643 were on hand here. Aaron Brooks has been sacked 6 times tonight. Has had to run for his life 5 other times while trying to pass. As the pressure defense that Nick Saban employed so effectively at LSU, he has taken with him into the pros, and they were bringing 5, 6, 7 guys most of the time, and the Saints never solved it, never hit a big play, while the Dolphins were coming with that all-out blitz. And the Dolphins can just run out the clock here on the final 2 minutes of this game. This was a Dolphin team that the folks in Miami were all over this week because of the fact that Kansas City had to come in at short notice, traveled on the day of the game because of Hurricane Wilma,
The Dolphins looked to have a decided advantage, and they just got pummeled. Gave up, I think, 464 yards to the Chiefs. Gus Frerotte was stinking up the joint full for Sage Rosenfels. Ricky Williams wasn't running well at all. And they were all over this football team. Well, if you want to get well as a head coach or an embattled quarterback, just come and play the Saints. Because Gus Frerotte, while not the toast of the town in Miami at the moment, is not exactly the roast of the town either, because he's played well enough to win, staying within the confines of a game plan that called for running Ricky Williams, Ronnie Brown, and coming after Aaron Brooks, and they did that all day long. Houston, a 19-16 winner over the Cleveland Browns, as Nick Saban shakes hands on the opposing sideline, and we'll go back to the visitors' locker room here in the stadium, in which he enjoyed so much success during his 5 years at LSU. 48-16 record, 13-1 back in 2003 when they were the national champions. Final seconds, tick off the clock here in Tiger Stadium. Saints cannot stop it, and the Dolphins will be the team to break a 3-game losing streak, and they will be 3-4 on the season. The Saints' losing streak is extended to 4 games, and they will fall to 2-6. So a day that began with great optimism and high hopes for Saints fans who were just happy to see their football team back in Louisiana for the first time since Katrina, for the first time since preseason. And those hopes were dashed fairly early on as the Saints led 3-0, and that was the last time they led in this game, on their way to a 21-6 defeat.
And let's go right down to Kenny Wilkerson. All right, down here with Dante Stallworth as Dante's making his way into the middle of the field. Dante, I mean, you guys are 2-6 now, and I know that everybody's going to want the fans to stick with you, but how are you guys going to stick with each other when something like this in this season has turned out the way that it has?
You got to do it. I mean, you know, we've been through a lot, just like the rest of this part of the country has been through, but you know, it's tough, man, but we just try to do what we can, man, and try to play our best, but you know, we just end up making a lot of mistakes and stuff.
And that's been the case not just this year, it's been the case for a long time, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. I mean, you know, there's no really explanation for it, but it just happens, you know.
Dante, I know nobody wants, at this point, you still got 8 games to play, nobody wants to point any fingers, but, you know, when you got a game in hand here where you're on the field healthy, Joe Horn's on the field healthy, you got Devery Henderson with a lot of speed healthy, it makes everybody wonder why is the football not going downfield? And I know that you're not calling the plays, but you know, what do you guys talk about? What do you guys talk about with Brooks on the sidelines? What's going on?
We just try to see what we see, talk about what we see, and you know, for some reason it just doesn't work.
Thanks, Dante.
No problem.
All right, Dante Stallworth down here on the field, and we're going to try to hook up with Joe Horn, who has made his way over to talk to some of the fans. As a matter of fact, I know you guys are kind of moving things around and doing different things, but I'm going to grab Joe right now as we walk off. Joe, I know it's been difficult. You got back on the field today, but what's wrong with this football team, Joe?
It's hard for me to dissect it up, man. I can't chop it up, Kenny. It's my first game back. We got so many opportunities, and we playing against teams that's giving us chances to kill them, and we're just not cashing in on our chances. That's all I can say right now, man. It's a group effort, man, and everybody got to look in the mirror, including myself. Everybody got to look in the mirror and see what you have to do to make the football game easier for the Saints to win. Everybody, you know, the offense, the receivers, the O-linemen, the DB, everybody, man. We all in this shit together, man. That's all I can say, Kenny.
The crowd, I know that you guys have talked a lot about different things. The crowd, come on, nobody can say anything bad about the crowd.
No way, man. They love us, man. I mean, we love them. You know what I'm saying? They're here for us. They didn't have to come, man, but it's a blessing to see our fans here, man. We love them, and we hope we're back in New Orleans.
Thanks, Joe.
All right, buddy.
All right, Joe Horn down here. With that, I'll send it back upstairs to you guys.
All right, thanks very much, Kenny, for your work throughout the day. I want to thank Brian Lazar for his work up here in the press box. He is our longtime statistician. He's been displaced to Baton Rouge, our first opportunity since preseason to work with him, and he has been sorely missed.
Yes, he has. I mean, you don't know how valuable a guy like that is until you don't have him.
Especially in a game.
The answer, the question was, what is the NFL's commitment to the city of New Orleans? Not to anybody else, to the city. Very strong. Did the temporary plans include Baton Rouge? Flat out, yes. When a man like Tagliabue answers questions short and sweet with one or two word answers, that's it. I mean, he's not fooling around. Okay. The temporary plans include Baton Rouge, yes. He said throughout the course of his press conference and said franchises are not free agents. Big statement as far as I'm concerned. After we had broken away, he still went on for a couple more minutes because we had to take the time out and we were getting ready for kickoff and all that. The question was, have you discouraged Tom Benson in talking to San Antonio? Quote, league policy states that owners are not allowed to talk to other cities about relocating during the course of a football season. I mean, that was him saying,
right.
We're not paying attention to any of that kind of stuff right now. I think that when you heard just now I think he ripped them in their business model. I think he said they need to take a look at their business model and how they operate. And I think that his message was, folks need to calm down. As we've been saying for weeks, and I'm glad to hear him say it, calm down. Nobody's going anywhere right now.
Right. And he said the situation, it doesn't matter what, the mayor of San Antonio wants, what Mr. Benson wants. I mean, they do things as a league. That's why the NFL has been so successful. The owners, everything is shared. Like we said this before, the TV revenues, it's not like baseball. You don't have the haves and the have-nots, whether you come out first or 32, and everything is, shared. It's like one for all for one, and that's why the NFL has been successful. When he addressed situation about going to L.A., yeah, he's going to look at all possibilities. But realistically, what he said, no, that was nonsensical.
Right. He said, I mean, I've heard every team in the league practically is on their way to L.A. And they're all still in their cities that they are right now. He's not paying attention to that. He addressed the L.A. situation, I think, very firmly back at the Super Bowl in the commissioner's press conference, which takes place on Super Bowl week on every Friday morning. And he said, we are not going back. We are one day hopefully going to be back in L.A., but we are not going back into L.A. until it's done right. Meaning it's all got to be set up in the stadium, and there's not going to be any stones unturned before they go back into that market. They don't have to have that market. They got a new contract. They got new television deals with their networks without L.A. Yes, could they get more money with L.A.?
Right.
Sure. But they accomplished the new deal even without the L.A. market, and the Fox broadcast is all set up in L.A. anyway. I mean, it's almost in San Diego's right there. The L.A. thing is forget about L.A. for right now. Forget about San Antonio for right now. Forget about all of it. It's sad that we're even having and have done this for, weeks now, having these conversations and even having to follow this story right now because of what has taken place in New Orleans. But I think that the commission did a nice job today in reassuring the fans of this football team, who I think were outstanding tonight in this stadium, and elsewhere listening and watching and all that. But I think he did a nice job of reassuring everybody, just calm down. Nobody's doing anything right now. Now, I'll say this, Bobby, and I've said this now for a while, and I'll continue to say this. If a year from now, Halloween 2006, in that general area, we are still hearing from our elected officials,
and
from the leaders, that we still need to look at this, and we're not sure about that.
That committee.
There's no plan.
No leadership.
Well, then they're going to lose more than the New Orleans Saints. But for right now, for them to, I'm not saying it's a good excuse or it's a viable excuse. I guess that is what I'm saying. Until all the studies are finished and the money and everything is clarified, and all that kind of stuff, for at least another couple of months, you can understand that they're not sure what to do. This is not Ivan that wiped out the coast, and this is not what other hurricanes have done. This is a massive line of destruction from the 17th Street Canal to beyond and to Mobile. Okay, right. There's a lot that needs to be determined, a lot of federal money that needs to be determined, and for them only 2 months after the storm to not be certain of what they want to do, I think is okay. Now, if at Christmas, before this football season is over, if they're still not, really starting to give some really strong indications of what's going to be taking place and how they want to rebuild and what they want to do, then I think that we're looking at some trouble down the road. But this is not going to be a decision made overnight.
But Kenny, he even addressed that the league, he said, is in a situation to help the Saints in the city. They want to be proactive. Right. They want to be involved. Not like, okay, you get everything, all your ducks in a row, and then we'll jump on the bandwagon. No, they want to be part of the whole process to get things back right.
How do you think it makes them look if they raise millions and millions of dollars, right? having these all these different events and all these different things. And here you go, New Orleans. Here's to rebuild. Here's some help for your highways and your levees and all that. Oh, by the way, Tom Benson doesn't like that everybody boos him and everybody gives him a hard time. And so we're not gonna do anything. We're just gonna let him pull out of here. No, that's not gonna happen. That's not gonna happen. And let me tell you, I think it's really nice and really, I shouldn't say nice. I think it's good that Tagliabue was here.
Yep.
And saw what he saw on the field.
Yeah, you know what's a shame though? The fans were ready to cheer for something, but if you only score 6 points, there's not too much cheering you can do. And the one thing that Paul Tagliabue also addressed was when someone asked him about the new stadium. He didn't stutter or hesitate. He said, "I have no opinion." He's not getting involved in the whole, stadium business.
Correct.
He just said no opinion. Next question.
Bobby, the league wants to get back to a point where they can remain neutral. Now, for the last couple of years, all these different negotiations and everything's been going on about trying to get a long-term deal, stadium, this, that, fix the dome, don't fix the dome, Benson has this press conference, State has this. All right. The league has been basically Switzerland throughout this. They have never said, we want the Saints somewhere else. They've never said, we want the Saints to stay in New Orleans. They've always just maintained a posture of, we hope everything works out.
No, it's like free enterprise.
We don't
have business. Let them just take it down.
That's right. Their statements have been, we hope that these negotiations work out. We hope that things work out for everybody in the long run. To me, they've been Switzerland. They've remained neutral. They need to be firm in what's happening right now and not let drastic things take place until they get to the point where the city of New Orleans is back, operate, in a decent shape operational, okay, and income and commerce and all that, and the dome is operational again, and then they can at that point back off and say, okay, now you're back to where you were before the storm, negotiate a deal or don't negotiate a deal, get a deal done or not. But they've got to get things back to somewhere, some type of semblance of where things were before the storm.
But the Saints needed to be in New Orleans long term. All the elected officials, they need to figure out some kind of way, how can we get big business in the city? The Fortune 500, companies. How can you get the legislation where you're going to make it attractive, tax incentives, whatever, that you're going to want to have.
You just answered your own question.
You want to have corporations to want to come here. And then all of a sudden, that's when you're a major league city, and you're able to keep the NFL, not worry if they're leaving every other year.
Well, that's what you've just kind of answered everything. There will be those things. Those things have to be determined, and it can't take until 2010 to determine what the tax incentives are going to be. It's not going to be determined tomorrow on Halloween, but it needs to be determined, in a relatively decent amount of time. Forget the Alamo. That was one sign, the best sign, not the best sign that I saw in the stadium. There were some signs I can't repeat. There were some signs directed at a lot of different people. All right. Forget the Alamo was one. Okay? And the best sign of the night in the stadium, which, again, there was a lot of people holding signs and everything like good fan support. The black and mold.
The black and mold. That's, instead of the black and gold in the Super Bowl, the black and mold
in the Super Bowl. There you go.
Thanks a lot, Kenny. Kenny's always on top of this, and that's why we love to hear his opinion, because he knows the direction the Saints are going in the future. You're listening to The Point After the Talk Saints Football. Give me a call, 504-260-1878 or 866-889-0870. Don't go anywhere. Dean will be right back to you when we get back. Stay tuned. City.
Oh, yeah.
In the whole league. So Mr. Benson can't say that the fans, don't support the team. And realistically, I think Mr. Benson wants the team to win, but I think one of the problem is if you're not one of his yes men and don't agree with everything he says, he fires you.
Well, we saw what happened a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like he wants to be surrounded by yes men. And most successful, people who run football organizations, they want different opinions to try and right the ship and make it go in the right direction.
And it just trickles down. It trickles down from Benson to Hazlitt to Brooks. It just goes from bad to worse.
Well, you know what, Mr. Dave Dixon, I think, said it right, where realistically, all through the years, over the years, the Saints organization have really not had, great ownership with quality leadership. I mean, going back to John Meekum. Now, Mr. Benson,
did keep the Saints in New Orleans because they were heading to Jacksonville in 1985.
He was making money here.
But that's what I'm saying. Look what he bought the Saints for. What it was up 80 million or 80-some million compared to what they were now. So no, I mean, you don't have to feel sorry for Mr. Benson as far as him getting involved and keeping the team from going to Jacksonville at that time. Thanks a lot, Glenn. Let's go to Steve in New Orleans East. What you got, Steve, on line 5? Go ahead.